Welcome to the working week. It's all such a bore. Kick back, make the best of it, and make it hardcore. Hang out with Bmms, pick up your phone. They're live, you're on the air. Now. Are you ready? Are you ready to go? It's time to start the show. Grab a six pack, light 'em up, let's go. It's the Big Mad Morning Show. Are you ready? Are you ready to go? It's time to start the show. Grab a six pack, light 'em up, let's go. It's the Big Mad Morning Show.
Good morning. It's the Big Mad Morning Show, 918-460-KMOD. Can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. Listen online, the website that rocks, KMOD.com. Past shows are available on iTunes. Search under BMMS. Listen with your cell phone. Get the iHeartRadio app. Available from the App Store of your cell phone provider. More on that at iHeartRadio.com. And we are on Facebook. Facebook.com/BMMS69. That's where you can hang out with us each and every day. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning, Corbin.
Good morning, Gimpy.
Good morning.
Tickets to our 50th anniversary concert. Yep, that's going to happen in April at the BOK Center. Shine Down in 3 Days Grace will be on the stage. Tickets available, BOKcenter.com. We got best and worst of the week. And what's the best thing that happened to you and the worst? A little under an hour. We'll get to that. We'll share ours, and we want you guys to share yours. You can call or text to give those to us. We're going to speak with a listener because they're awesome. Jeff Hensley will join us. You got a question about divorce, custody, guardianship. Maybe you just got a letter from Child Protective Services. And you're like, I don't know what this means. He can tell you the steps and what's going to happen. Feel free to get your question to us a couple ways. You can email show@kmod.com. You can text BMMS and then whatever your question is to the phone number 82945. Or you can call when he's in the studio at 9. And St. Patrick's Day is 11 days away. Oif. Win your spot on the party bus with Gimpy for bar hopping on St. Patrick's Day downtown. You sign up on the contest page at KMOD.com. Short Bus and Gimpy will be ready for you.
Yeah, that's right.
As you throw them back. Make bad decisions.
Yeah.
All in the one day you're Irish. The rest of the time you are not. Chris Rock, his special came out. And he apparently addresses the situation with Will Smith. And apparently he goes full blast on it. But I've got the audio. So here is some about when that happened.
Words hurt. That's what they say. Got to watch what you say, because words hurt. You know, anybody that says words hurt has never been punched in the face.
Truth.
I've got smacked in the Oscars by this and people like, did it hurt? It still hurts. I got summertime ringing in my ear.
He made this great line about he played Muhammad Ali.
Right.
You think he doesn't know how to throw a punch? This is more of him.
You will never see me on Oprah or Gail crying. You will never see it. Never gonna happen. I couldn't believe it, and I love Men in Black. No.
He says he's not a victim, right? He's like, listen, I'm not a victim.
Yeah.
My mom and dad taught me you don't ever fight in front of white people.
That was hilarious.
There's more from that.
I have rooted for Will Smith my whole life. I root for this, okay? And now I watch Emancipation just to see him get whooped.
For those who know, it's a movie about sleep.
Yeah.
Don't and then the whole Jada thing.
I normally would not talk about this, but for some reason, these put that on the internet. I I have no idea why two talented people would do something that low down.
I've always liked Chris Rock. He's always been like an observant comedian of logic to make you go, oh man, that is a little awkward.
Yeah. It's great. He talks about why Jada and Will's affair, like why she cheated with one of their kids' friends and put it out on the internet. Like that's what he's referring to. Like why they would do that. I have no idea, but she did. And she turned that man into a bitch. Like she turned her husband into a bitch.
Everybody called that man a bitch.
Exactly. And that's what he gets into. And he's like, you had the people on The View and The Talk calling him a bitch. And you had so-and-so calling him a bitch. You had everyone in the world calling him a bitch. I never did. But then I'm the one that gets slapped for it. And he towers over me. He's like, that dude is a bitch. Like that's. And I thought it was pretty brilliant how he waited. He didn't talk about it once until this special. I thought that was brilliant on his part. Super smart.
What's interesting too is he's been in trouble with his wife for cheating.
Yeah, they're divorced now.
Yeah. But so it's interesting to comment about it. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of a weird. It's like O.J. Simpson commenting on the Murdoch trial. Like, okay, it's happening.
Yeah.
Right.
But so it's kind of a weird stance from that point. But he makes a ton of valid points, and it's a year next on Sunday.
Yeah,
this kind of week from yesterday is when the slap heard around the world. And so it makes sense to like take your time, use it as material.
Right.
Smart comedians use stuff for material. They don't wait, or they wait. They don't just pop off, because.
Right.
Exactly.
Like they're angry, mad about the situation. Let things settle a little bit and come back and make fun of everybody about it.
He takes 50 or 100 to, do an interview with Oprah, or he could take $1 million and do a Netflix special or $500,000.
Yeah.
I don't know what he got paid for that.
Yeah.
But good on him
for
doing it that way.
Absolutely.
And it, again, brings up a bunch of points.
Yeah.
To go on stage and slap somebody, it makes no sense.
And we watched the special last night. Kevin and I did, and it was. I mean, the best part was when he started talking about Will Smith, of course. But I mean, the whole thing was. I mean, had its good moments, but he said that during the Oscars last year, the whole reason why he made a joke about Jada was because apparently she had said that he didn't need to be hosting the Oscars. He didn't need to be a presenter at the Oscars. He should have given it up a long time ago because apparently Will Smith didn't get a nomination for Concussion. And she was upset about that. Like, as if Chris Rock had anything to do with it.
Does she know how it works?
Exactly. And he's like, I had nothing to do with that fact. So why do I have to give up my role in the Oscars?
He's one of the best hosts ever.
Right. She's like, she started it. I was just finishing it and they couldn't handle it. And I get slapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a believer of like when you say things, they have consequences, right? I'm a big believer in that for sure.
Yes.
But at a comedy show, like with no warrant, like, hey man, that's enough. Right. Or you're telling me that Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith have never been ridiculed at all. Not from Chris Rock, just anyone.
Right.
Or a comedian ever.
Right. It's a comedy show.
Yeah.
He's just telling jokes. People come on.
Yeah. But I'm a big believer when that type of thing happens, that's something he's dealing with already.
So far as
when he went on stage and hit, like he's already, insecure. He felt some reason that he had to protect his territory.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And his cheese just slid right off the cracker and slap. There he goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Some sort of thing in him. It had zero to do. He was complicit in the offense.
Absolutely.
Right. He chose to be, I'm offended, and then take action. Now he's a part of it. Rather than he just could have been like, a derp.
Right, just let it slide, man. Let it go. Say something after the show, maybe, if you have to confront them. Say something after the award show.
I think you wait a couple days.
Right?
And you call and you're like, hey, man.
Yeah.
I know it was a joke, but that felt below the belt.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Not walk up there in front of God and everybody and then slap them like a bitch.
But it was because it had nothing to do with Chris Rock. He was just
No, it had to. Oh, right.
you know, he was just taking his anger out on someone smaller than him,
Right.
which in turn made him look like a bitch.
Right. There's a whole other psychological thing happening there for sure.
Yeah.
But to me, that is the example of people that get aggressive. You never look like the victor.
Mhm.
You never do.
No.
You may feel like the victor.
Yeah, but you look like a douche.
Mhm.
Yes. You go to a bar and you see some guy pummeling somebody. Even the people, the spectators are like, okay,
Right. That's enough, bruh.
yeah. Nobody's like, good job.
Right.
Atta boy.
You really whooped that defenseless little man, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. We're not talking about when your car gets broken into. Even that,
Mhm.
right? Someone breaks into your car and you get aggressive and protect whatever your property. Even then, someone's going to pull you off and be like, okay. And that's warranted.
Mm,
You're protecting your stuff.
right, right. This is over a joke.
Right. Over words.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
Right. Because jokes are arbitrary. So it's over words. Hard to believe it's a year. And
Yeah.
also, that has waves. So there's this thing happening with the Oscars. This is all total nerd stuff that a lot of people won't care about. But the person that wins Best Actor the year before presents the next year,
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
right?
Okay.
And there's this whole like doing it to create the new nominees, like a passing the torch
Mhm.
and like a your performance matters and all this thing. And now they can't do that. There's no qualms about it, right?
No.
Everybody knows why he won't be there.
Mhm.
Right.
It isn't like he's filming in Rome or
Right. No, he doesn't want to get hit again.
no. He's not
banned.
allowed. He's
Oh.
banned.
Oh, Will Smith.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about
No,
Chris Rock.
No,
Okay.
Will
Yeah,
Smith
yeah, yeah.
won Best Actor,
Mhm.
and so like they've got to figure out how to make that statement.
Yeah.
We're gonna have the guy in second place do it.
Yeah, right.
Probably
then,
not.
And then there's this whole like, well, who do you pick? Let's just say you pick a previous year.
Mhm.
And you're like, It also has this aura of like, hold on, I've got to step in for Will Smith. I don't want any of that smoke on me.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Everybody's gonna know so it's like this weird thing they're doing. They have to figure out the optics of, which we would never think of.
Sure.
But at that octane level that they're dealing with, they're like, it matters who presents it.
Right.
It matters who steps in. Do they want to?
Mhm.
Right? It's crazy how things like that have a level of impact that we, as just the consumer of the show, don't understand.
I think most likely they'll probably have a female do it. Like the best.
For the best male actor,
Yeah.
again, see the optics on that.
Yeah.
I'm personally fine with that.
Mhm.
But I've never won the award, nor will I ever be up for the award. I could care
Mhm.
less who's presenting.
Mhm.
But for those,
That's
vinegar
so-
harvesters, like it matters to them. It's
Right.
their award ceremony.
Right, right. It's a big deal to them.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
Sure.
are they going to say something? Like, are they going to make it aware? Are they
Like
going to
what-
mention it?
Like, what would you say? Like, what would be an example of,
of course,
something
we
they would
all
say?
know why I'm here and not. I don't know.
Oof. No, I think maybe they'll do a little improv of it, but
Yeah.
I think they're like, hey, he's persona non grata, right? Like,
Let's just not even talk about it.
yeah,
And Jimmy Kimmel's hosting,
sure.
I believe. So
Sure.
Boy.
Sure.
there will be jokes about it.
Well, anybody that hosts,
Yeah.
there will be joke.
Mhm.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, no Will Smith jokes.
Right. Let's
We're
just
trying to
leave
get past it.
it. Mhm.
Next year, okay.
Right. Too fresh. Still too fresh.
Right.
It's a 1-year anniversary of it. So
They're
of
about
course-
image, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's going to be top of everybody's mind that night. Not what's the best movie or best female actress. No, it's be like, I wonder if anybody's going to get hit today.
I think if there's an upset, like, some sort of whatever, some movie wins that and everybody's like, okay,
Mm,
and it wins, and he comes out, he's like, wow, that had an impact like Will Smith did last year. I could see
Yeah.
something like that.
Right.
Or someone might say that movie slaps or something like that. Or
I don't think so. I
Some
feel like
sort of
Kimmel's
fun.
jokes are a little above what you and I do.
possibly.
So I think it'll be more a tongue-in-cheek thing. I don't know if I would, because they're all about image. They are very proud of the show that they present.
Yeah.
There was little uneasiness about what's his name carrying a beer on stage.
Oh, Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais, yeah. And you're like, ooh, I don't know.
A little too much there, Ricky.
And he's like, okay, and just went out and did it anyway. Like, you're not going to find another host. I'm going out there with this.
Yeah.
With toothpaste out of tube.
Yeah, they hired more security.
What? That's so stupid.
I agree.
That's so stupid. It's like I read today that Journey, the band Journey, they hate each other so much. Now, this isn't an article, so whatever. They hate each other so much, they hired private security to keep each other away from each other.
What?
Then break up already.
Right.
Like,
but the money.
Right.
That is
and you're
crazy.
Like, so what are you going to do? What are you going to see? You're going to see somebody stop in this. Let's just back up. Will Smith from going on stage? I don't think so. Or you're going to have guys standing around like, hey, keep the fans in the stands so they don't storm the court. It ain't happening.
It's silly.
How would you like to be, some, squeaky, muscly guy trying to be like, sorry, folks, park's closed. Let's stay right there. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. You're going to see them, all lined up on hands crossed in front of their hands around this.
Right, exactly. And then that kind of ruins the prestigious image of this award.
The decorum,
Right.
And what, they're going to be on the side like a tennis ball boy at Wimbledon?
Right.
They're going to run and tackle. Get out of here.
Or secret seaters. Like they'll just put them hidden in the seats somewhere.
I can't imagine they're going to give up. And you got to sit next to, I don't see that. That might be the most logical, but the seats are pretty prime.
Yeah, they are.
I had a friend that used to do it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They used to sit in the back, and then when someone went to the bathroom, they would go, they're called seat fillers, and they would go and sit in the spot until someone came back.
Right, so when the camera pans to whomever, there's not an empty seat.
Yeah, but there's tight rules. You're not allowed to talk to anybody. Even if they talk to you, you just be cordial. No, what?
I would have
break the rules.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. And would just sit there, and you're not supposed to talk or do anything, and you have to be up and out of the chair before the other person comes back.
So you got to keep an eye on the door and be like, there's Brad Pitt. He's on his way back.
Yep.
God, I hope he washed his hands. All right, I got to go by.
Yeah, you are lower than dirt. I'd be farting in a seat.
Oh, for real. Just make everybody that around you, eat a real high fibrous diet the night before.
Even if you get kicked out, right. No, you got to be silent.
Right. Everybody's just sitting around like, what?
And you got to have a nice, they had to have a nice outfit. You can't just get something at Walmart. No offense, Walmart. You can't get,
thanks. You
got to get a nice, a nice tux. If you were a woman, you had to have a ballroom dress and not one you get
You're going
secondhand.
back to prom dress shopping.
You got to do better than prom dress shopping. You don't want no shoulder showing weird thing. Have you seen what they wear now to prom?
Yeah. Short dresses.
Because his hands is crazy. All right, we got to take a break. We've got tickets to the 50th anniversary concert that's happening April 24th. Best and worst of the weekend. Our listeners are awesome. Jeff Hinze will join us as well. We'll be back.
More of the big.
Located in the port city of Mobile on Alabama's Gulf Coast. The area got taped off while police investigated the incident, which has caused a stir in the local community. I mean,
I'm not buying this.
They're saying that the discoveries like this at the petrol stations are pretty common. I guess
finding penises at a gas station is common.
Not necessarily penises, but in 2021, they said that a body of a man aged in his 20s was located.
Well, but was his penis intact?
So
what's common then?
Finding bodies
and body parts, I guess.
Yes, at this particular gas station.
I'm not buying this. The story doesn't cite a news source other than Boing Boing and Daily Star. It doesn't refer to, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't go to like a local place.
Right. You think something like that would make local news, at least headlines.
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm saying I'm not buying it because that's a crazy story that a penis was found in a parking lot.
Maybe this is a hot spot for like lot lizards. And one trucker was like, "Hey, baby, you here for a good time?" And this lady, this lot lizard, climbs into the truck, and then the dude finds out that it's a dude, and he's like, "Ow, no, you've got a dong," and then slices it off, and then tosses it out the window, and then continues carrying his load to Birmingham. I don't know.
And I would think the Mobile Police Department would have this on their site, like on their Facebook or something.
Oh, they got nothing on there either.
Not that I can see.
Fake news.
And they're keeping it hush hush until they know more.
Oh, it's the Russians.
Hey, we don't know whose penis this is. If anybody has details, let us know.
Or they're probably looking at the tapes trying to investigate that truck. Kind of like the Idaho murders.
Which
they
was
were being
what?
quiet until they had more.
It was all over the news.
But they weren't saying what they had. That's why like the parents were being so disgruntled.
So Daily Star,
time.
some weird rag got the break.
Well, they're the only ones running with it.
I'm saying, that's what I'm saying, right? It's a great story.
Well, Lindsay, I'll see your severed schlong and raise you a giant dildo. Shoplifter caught trying to steal a giant 30-inch dildo. This happens in West Hollywood at the Circus of Books, which was formerly known as Chi Chi LaRue's. It's not really important, but it's a funny name nonetheless. So the video's on our Facebook page, and they say that this drunken patron walks in, stumbles into the Circus of Books. You see him walking around a little bit, and then they go over and they wrap both arms around this giant 30-inch black dildo and then just walk right on out the door with it. But one of the employees, Marcus Blackwell, says that they were ready like Freddy, his quote. They went out there, they chased the person down, they retrieved the big black schlong, and they brought it back and they put it back on display where they picked it up at. Now, they didn't say whether they called the cops or anything like that, but they did say that this big black rubber wiener can be yours for $699.95.
Wow.
So 30 inches, damn near to a doorknob, right? Doorknob's 36 inches.
Yeah.
That's not even the story. The story is how girthy it is.
Boy, it's massive. I've got the measurements right here. This massive black is 30 inches. It says here that it measures at 30.7 inches, so that's the height.
Yeah.
And 6.88 inches wide at the base, and then 11 inches wide at the
end.
The end.
So it's,
testicle area.
It's like a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, it's a big bitch. It is huge. That is not for use. That's strictly for display.
In the video, she grabs it with one arm and it almost falls off. That's how top.
It's a big one. It's a honker.
Yeah. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, do you know how much it is?
How much, price wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, $699.95 plus tax.
I go to a sex shop and I'm like, $30.
Yeah, right. I'm not going to spend $700 for something that'll just sit in the corner and get dusty.
Exactly.
A lot of people, it's payday today, and you're like, "Whoo, dog, been saved."
Valentine's Day's coming up.
Hey man, we're going out. Can't. Saving up. Got to get a sex toy. Would you rather get your ass beat once a day, every day for the rest of your life in front of your spouse and kids, or go to prison for 2 years? Lindsay.
Go to prison for 2 years.
So you would miss your 2 years of your kid's football game?
Yeah. I don't want to get my ass beat
2 years of
every
birthdays?
day.
2 years of Christmases?
I mean, how bad are we talking? How much pain am I going to be in?
Doesn't matter. You're
How
just
much
getting your ass beat.
suffering?
Doesn't matter.
An ass beat hurts.
Yeah. Like, am I going to have a busted eye? Am I going to be able to see? Am I going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how bad is this beat down?
Yes, to all those questions. It's an ass
Yeah.
beating.
So just give me prison for 2 years.
Okay, Gimpy.
Take the ass beating. I think that after the first week or two, you just become numb to it. You come to expect it. All right. You're like, all right, 2:00, time for my daily ass beating. Wife, kids, come on, gather around. Dad's about to get his ass kicked. and then let them take what 5-10 minutes out of their day to whoop my ass and beat me to a bloody pulp. All right, Frank. See you tomorrow about the same time, same ass kicking time, and then walk back on my way.
Yeah. I feel like I'm picking the ass kicking too, because logistically, okay, a couple factors here. One, logistically, who are you going to find someone to show up every day? It ain't happening.
Right.
It ain't happening. You got haircuts.
Right.
You got doctor's appointments. You got that Zoom meeting.
Well, I mean, there's a lot that can go into it. One, it could be a different person every day.
Sure.
Right. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. Let's just say you're getting your haircut at 2:00 and it's time for your ass kicking. Well, you're getting your ass kicking in the middle of your haircut, or you're going to have to pause to get your ass kicking and then go back to your haircut.
I'm not saying me have the haircut. I'm saying people, life happens, right?
Okay.
And then what if the guy that, let's just say it's one person and he does it for like 5 years and then he gets hit by a car and dies. Like, then what? Do you have an open call? Right? Let's say it's volunteer and people are like, well, I want to kick Corbin's ass. Great. That's going to work good for about the first year or so. And then people are like, okay. And maybe people are going to show up and watch. And then after a while, like, all right, enough's enough.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like the ass kicking is the pick.
However, what if the ass kicking is so bad that one day you're getting your ass kicked and it causes internal bleeding and you don't even know it, and then you end up dying from the ass
Well,
kicking?
then your ass beating is done because it's for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and they're going to jail for murder at that point.
But you're dead.
So will they be. And insurance premium. Come on. It's all good. Right? To me, there's just too much logistics with the ass kicking every day. And you're going to go to jail and get your ass kicked every day.
True statement.
Maybe not.
There's a good chance you're going to have to change who you are as an individual to go to jail for 2 years. You're going to have to jeopardize your virtues.
Either way, something is happening with your ass.
If you've heard me talk about jacuzzis, butt soup,
Yeah, you're not a fan.
they're disgusting. Well, the CDC has issued a statement about them because of the high infection. Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show, 918-460-KMOD. You can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. We do news quickies. These are stories you may have missed in the news. We cover them here and put a link on our Facebook page, facebook.com/BMMS69.
It's time for news quickies, world news, local news, and news that just makes you say, what the Now here's Corbin, Gimpy, and Lindsay with what's going on. News quickies from the Big Man Morning Show at 97.5 KMOD.
Doctor cuts off man's penis after mistaking syphilis for cancer.
You sure are picking a lot of cutting off of the penis stories.
He has a good point there.
My bad. I mean, they're pretty shocking. The operation.
I'm implying there's more of like this, thing, the side thing.
Secret.
It's not a critique of your job.
No.
It's implying that you might desire this.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
Said the
Things
guilty
that just
one.
make you go, yeah. Ooh.
Okay.
The operation took place in San Donato Hospital in the Tuscan city of Arezzo. This happened back in November of 2018. The man is now 68 years old, and he wants to take to court the 35-year-old urologist who performed the amputation. Now, the diagnosis was subsequently found to be wrong. The man, in fact, had a type of syphilis which could have been treated with medication. But the surgeons allegedly amputated his genitals because they thought it was cancer in the organ. He says the ordeal was painful and embarrassing. The unusual case and the demand for compensation will be heard by a judge next month in a preliminary hearing. And that judge will then decide whether it should proceed to a trial. The patient said that he has suffered very serious damage and that he deserves to be compensated for the physical loss of his penis as well as the psychological trauma he's went through and is still going through. He wants to remain anonymous because of the sensitive nature of the case. He's only asking, which to me it doesn't sound like enough money, $426,000.
Maybe they have limits.
Right. Couldn't get $500,000, so he just
Yeah.
went shy under that.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's some places that have malpractice limits.
I see. The surgeon who performed the operation, who is said to be highly regarded, no longer works at this hospital, but is now in a hospital in Milan.
How did they find out it was inaccurate? Was there a new type of way to test it after the fact? You said it happened in 2018, right? I mean, that's over 5 years ago. So maybe some technology has advanced that now they know. At the time, if that's the information he had, maybe it's just me. I clearly run to the beat of a different drum. I get told I'm getting anything needs to be amputated, I'm getting a second opinion.
And probably a third.
As you
Fair.
should.
Yeah.
That's how you end up missing a wiener.
And my penis, I'm not just going to go in like I'm trying to decide which refrigerator to buy. Right? I'm going to, that one.
Yeah.
No, it's going to take me some time.
And then I'm wondering if he went into the doctor and they're like, well, we're going to have to put you under so we can check the inside. Like, if they had to go inside through the penis hole, like, you know what I mean?
I don't.
You know what I mean?
Like, Lindsay, no, they don't. That's not how they do it.
Okay.
They don't put you under for that.
Otherwise,
Gimpy would be put under every time he's had sex. Sounding.
Bamboozled carjackers end up empty-handed after trying to take a man's car at gunpoint. So this happens actually in January. For whatever reason, the story's just not coming out. But it comes out of Houston, where this guy goes to the gas station, and then he gets to his house, and then he's confronted by two teenagers, one of them with a gun. He's got a 9mm with an extended magazine, had at least 40 bullets. I don't know why they felt that was important to put in the story, but they did.
Feels excessive.
Maybe so. So the guy's he's like, hey, sucker, give me your keys to your car. Hey, sucker, give me the keys to your Jeep. And the guy's like, I don't have my keys. They're in my backpack or whatever. And so the second guy was like trying to, I don't know, hurry the hell up, I guess. Ends up just grabbing the backpack and then running off. And they didn't know that the keys ever in there. So anyhow, the guy takes off with the backpack. The homeowner goes and chases after him. And now the guy with the gun is behind both of them. And he starts firing shots at him. Nonetheless, the guy with the backpack drops the backpack. And then the owner was able to get his backpack back, keys and everything inside still. And then the guy with the gun ended up catching up with his buddy. They took off in a Camaro. They're still looking for him.
The extended magazine, you just look comical.
Right? There's really no need for it.
No, what's 17, 12, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're doing it right, you really only need one.
Yeah. Yeah, you just look silly with that many.
No, man, it looks cool. Look, I got all these bullets.
Listen, I am not too in tune with what sounds or looks cool. So, by the way, you get extra points for bamboozled.
Yeah, right.
Rare infection blamed for death of Florida resident. This is awesome. A man is dead after being infected with what doctors say was an extremely rare brain-eating amoeba. State Health made the announcement over the weekend that the deadly infection might have been prompted by the victim's use of ordinary tap water as a sinus rinse, which can lead to a dangerous infection from a single-celled organism that lives in soil or fresh water sources such as lakes, rivers, or hot springs. Health officials say only about 3 people get the infection in the U.S. each year. The infection is also typically fatal. I don't know about you. I'm a big Navage fan.
All right.
Yep.
Love it. Did it last night. Chunks.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yes. Which all it does is sell me to do it again. This story, I was like, oh, but that has a saline wash that goes in it. So
I was going to ask if you use regular tap water for
no.
that.
I mean, you put tap water in it, but you put a saline. It has a little saline chemical saline wash that goes in it.
Kind of acts like a chlorine-ish sort of thing.
Exactly.
Whatever's in it.
So I put the saline wash in mine too, but I still will use distilled water or bottled water because I don't trust the tap.
Well, bottled water typically is tap water.
But it's still
Tap water.
But it's still
tap water.
Yeah, but it goes through purification.
It's still tap water, Lindsay. You're still getting, you're hoping it gets everything.
Yeah, I am. But I feel
distilled and bottled water are not the same thing.
Yeah. But I still feel like it goes through that purification more so than the tap that comes out of the sink.
Just shove a garden hose up my nose and let it rip.
Right.
I mean, back in the day, we probably would have.
Right. This guy probably just didn't want to buy the little saline things that go. And do you have a Navage too?
I don't have a Navage. I have the Doctor whatever.
The neti pot thing?
It's I guess, but it's electric.
Okay.
Because I can't do it myself. I just can't. I have to push that button.
I was a skeptic of it, but every time I use it, I always feel better the next day.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel like a sinus thing coming on, boom, I'll do it. Or right now when those stupid Bradford pears are blooming, I will do it. And the stuff that comes out of your nose, you're like, goodness, it's addictive. I could watch the videos, dude.
Well, all right, dude.
Have you ever done it, Gimpy?
No.
It's a trip, dude. It's like a container full of water on top and then a reservoir on the bottom. It's got these two nostrils. You put it up in your nose and then you hit a button and then it goes and it shoots water into your, and you have to hold your mouth open.
Because it all comes out your mouth.
No. And then it goes through the other side and then fills the reservoir. You open your mouth so you can breathe.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of important.
And so it's trippy because it happens in like 15 seconds, 30 seconds maybe. And it's super fast and you're like, what? And then this is my favorite part. After you're all done, cleaned up, all that stuff, you go and you'll like lean over to get something out of the dishwasher or whatever. And then like a ton of water will come out of your nose. You're like, what the hell's that?
I've been storing that one.
Does the sinus rinse, does it sort of burn your sinuses a little bit?
No.
Okay. It does a little bit of mine, a little bit.
I feel like burning would be an indicator that something's not okay.
If it burns, it's working.
Yeah, that's how
Come on now. Mouthwash, if it burns, it's working.
That is not a universal code. That doesn't work with like deucing, peeing, sex. It's not a universal thing. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back.
Let's rock. More of the Big Mad Morning Show.
Plates in the air.
All right.
Naked Las Vegas man ran through hotels swinging toilet plunger. So this happened in Des Moines, Iowa. Traven Wayne Hill, he's 21 years old. He's accused of running naked through this hotel wielding a toilet plunger and pulling fire alarms. It happened on January 28th. He was arrested, charged with assault while displaying a dangerous weapon, first-degree criminal mischief, and disorderly conduct, according to the Polk County online booking records. Now, according to the Des Moines Police Department, Hill approached a victim in the 18th floor stairwell at the Des Moines Marriott downtown with the toilet plunger. According to court documents, the naked man yelled, "I'm going to effing get you," as he chased the victim. Police said that multiple people saw him allegedly pull fire alarms around the hotel. The man continued running on several floors, swinging the plunger until he was subdued by the police. He was booked into the jail, posted bail on the very next day, according to court records. He pleaded not guilty to the charges and will appear in court at a later date. The guy, he's 21. I don't know if he's from Vegas. I don't know what he was doing in Iowa, but he looks kind of like an entitled brat who was probably pissed to be in Iowa on maybe around his birthday time or something. He'd rather be back in Vegas, partying, living it up. I don't know.
He was just drunk.
That's what I got from his photo.
Okay. I think most people that live in Vegas aren't partying up.
No, but he looks like the type that wishes like he would have been there rather than in Iowa. So he's going to spend mom and dad's money and just make a mess of himself. That's what I get from his mugshot.
I'm going to go to Iowa and cause trouble.
Yeah.
Said no one ever.
Right.
You go to Vegas, you cause trouble. Go to LA, go to New York City. Nobody goes to Iowa just to cause trouble.
I do not have a counter to that. I grew up in Iowa. I do not have a counter to that.
You only cause trouble in Iowa if you're from there because you got nothing else to do in Iowa.
Right, because the gravel road. Yeah, you're on the gravel road drinking.
Man breaks into home and hides under sheet. I'm not sheeting you. This is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it sounds like it. The lead-in sounds insane.
Happens in West Virginia where this gal, she's sleeping and she hears glass breaking in her house. So she goes to check and she sees a strange man in her house. Oh no. So she runs upstairs to be with her granddaughters and she calls the police. Help, there's somebody in my house. So the police come down and they're searching around and they go to the back room. They see a pile of sheets. They see the pile of sheets move. Well, that sheet is not supposed to move. So they found 30-year-old William Brewer hiding underneath the sheet. Now, first they tried to cuff the man. He tried to run, but, they cuffed him anyway. He told the police that he only did it because he was high on the drugs and he needed a place to sleep. He says that, I guess he broke into the lady's house next door. She called the cops too. He says that he broke into that house to do the same thing, just looking for a place to sleep. But he left because the woman there would not stop yelling at him.
Mm.
When we play hide and seek in my house,
Yeah.
I will sometimes hide under a sheet because I'm not trying to win.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to not breathe under the sheet because the sheet moves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Easily found.
Where would you hide, Lindsay? If you were this guy, where would you hide?
Probably in a closet
That's the first place they're going to look.
or under a bed.
Second place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not in a sheet.
Under.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, if he was looking to take a nap, I mean, maybe they were Egyptian cotton and they looked really comfy.
Gimpy, where would you hide?
in a trash can. Not like in the small trash can in the kitchen, but no, in a dumpster outside.
Ooh.
I think it's big enough to fit a body in. Probably one of the last places they're going to look. Maybe, I don't know. I try not to run from the police, but I do remember watching Cops. He tries to hide under the kiddie pool, and they kick it over, and they find him every time.
Yeah, because they know to look there.
Yeah.
I think you got to hide in plain sight. My best hiding spots when we play hide and seek in the house is in plain sight.
Lampshade on your head?
Well, not like standing in the wide open.
Right.
Yeah.
But I have stood behind a curtain.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They don't think to look for the shoes under the curtain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're kids.
Exactly.
They've run right past you.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Yep.
Got to think like a child. On the podcast, we mentioned one thing is added to a news story. It changes the dynamic of a story. It makes it way more intense. Regardless if it's a news story or a story your friend's telling you.
Mm-hmm.
One factor has to do with feces will change the dynamic of a story. I have found another one that changes the dynamic of a story.
Really? Non-poop related, huh?
Non-poop related.
All right, then.
So the headline, I'm leaving out the crazy part. I'm leaving out part of the crazy. 2 kids killed after a bus driver crashes into a daycare.
Oh, damn, that sucks.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
I've got the factor added to any story makes it more crazy.
Okay.
2 kids killed after totally naked bus driver crashes into daycare.
Totally naked, huh? That will change any story.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Man robbed McDonald's. Okay. Naked man robs McDonald's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it really paints the picture for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah. I woke up in the middle of the night. Somebody was pounding on the door to my house.
Oh no.
Yes. It was freaky. I didn't know what to do. I woke up in the middle of the night. There was a naked man pounding on the door to my house.
Definitely different.
It lands different, doesn't it?
Yes.
My ex would get so crazy. She'd get drunk and she would run around screaming, right? Yelling at everybody.
Yeah.
My ex, she would get so drunk, she'd get naked and run around screaming.
Mm-hmm.
I had this
It's
friend in
different.
college, man. If he got a good test score, he would celebrate, man.
Yeah.
Get really drunk,
Oh, yeah.
right? Yell, scream, throw stuff out his dorm room window. Right? It's fine.
Yeah.
Seemingly, yeah.
I had this friend in college. If he did really good on a test score, he'd go celebrate, get real drunk, naked, run around, throw stuff out his window.
Yeah.
It literally does.
Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show, 918-460-KMOD. You can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. See what Lindsay has for Balls to the Wall Sports.
Balls to the wall, man. Balls to the wall. Balls to the wall. 918-460-KMOD. 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 918-460-KMOD.
The hits just keep on coming for John Morant. The Memphis Grizzlies trouble magnets' latest brush with stupidity came in the form of an Instagram live video that went viral, which appeared to show him dancing at a club while holding a gun by his face. As a result, Morant is now in the middle of what is at least going to be a 2-game suspension. Morant has apologized for his actions to his family, teammates, fans, partners, the city of Memphis, and the entire Grizzlies organization for letting you down. He says he also takes full responsibility for his actions. Morant has also said that he's going to be taking steps to get help. Sponsorship partner Nike also had a statement on the matter.
I've got a preview of that seminar. Don't pull your gun out unless you're going to use it.
Right? Nike said, we appreciate Ja's accountability and that he's taking the time to get the help he needs. We support his prioritization of his well-being.
This is a classic example of a guy who's got so much talent, right? He's in the NBA.
Yeah.
And just continues to put himself in trouble or in question to be in trouble.
Yes.
He's allowing people to question his motives on what he's doing.
Right.
Yeah. Why isn't his agent saying, dude, watch yourself? Like, make better choices.
I'm sure he is, but what would that do?
Yeah. Maybe listen to your surrounding.
Right,
he's
right.
23.
Yeah. He's so young.
He's 23, does whatever he wants, right? 23, and he's worth $80 million. Come on, man. Imagine you're 23 and you get a credit card from Structure and you feel untouchable.
That's a good point. The Milwaukee Bucks held off the Washington Wizards in a tight 117-111 win in DC. The Bucks were up by as much as 17, but they led by just one with under 3 minutes left in regulation before going on a 10-2 run to put the game away. Giannis Kumbo had a triple-double with 23 points, 13 assists, and 10 rebounds. Milwaukee has won 17 of its last 18 games, and the Lakers snapped the Warriors' win streak following a 113-105 victory in Los Angeles. Anthony Davis led all scorers with 39 points. LeBron James missed the game as he continues to work through a foot issue. LA has won 3 of its last 5 games and improved to 31-34 on the season. Steph Curry netted 27 points in his return from a leg injury. Golden State's 5-game win streak was snapped with the loss as the team dropped to 34-31. The Warriors are 5th in the West. And the Wizards are adding a player from down under. According to ESPN, Washington is signing Sydney Kings forward Xavier Cooks to a deal through the 2023-24 season. The MVP of the National Basketball League in Australia will join the Wizards as soon as the Kings complete play in the NBL finals this week. Cooks will become the 5th player in 5 years to make the leap from the NBL to the NBA. The 27-year-old went undrafted after an outstanding college career at Winthrop. And that's your Balls to the Wall Sports. I'm Lindsay on 97.5. KMOD.
Balls to the Wall Sports is powered by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Great taste, 96
Comes, they don't take the body.
Yeah, when my mom died, I got the call. We was on 21st, and they lived on 21st and shared. Anyhow, so I get to the house, and the ambulance is backed up in the driveway, and they got her on the gurney, putting her in the back of the ambulance, taking her to the hospital. She's already pronounced dead.
It feels like an extra trip to take him to the hospital.
I don't know.
Well, that's where the morgue
is not at the hospital. The hospital has a morgue.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know how it works out.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with my dad, too. My dad died at the house, and they picked him up, took him to the hospital, and that's where we got to say our final goodbyes.
Yeah, so, and I don't know. It's like, do you check? Maybe they check the ID. It's like, are they a organ donor? Maybe that's why you take the body to the hospital. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how that works out.
And so, again, I'm not an EMT. So, like, you're an EMT. They die. You go, all right, where's their wallet? I got to check their ID to see if they're an organ donor. How does that work?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you let the people at the hospital deal with it. Like, we're just here to drop the body off. Y'all figure it out.
And is there a code like they call in? Like, do they do lights if they're taking a dead body to the hospital? Do they run code to the hospital?
Right, lights and sirens and the whole nine.
Yeah. I would think not. It's
Probably
not an
not.
emergency.
Right.
Exactly.
But if they're an organ donor, time is of the essence on those things.
Right.
They have a shelf life.
Man busted with a ton of child porn. So police in Florida.
Was he a cross-dresser?
You should see the mugshot. It's a doozy. Police got a tip in January about some child sexual abuse material being uploaded to the internet at this address.
It's the Crypt Keeper.
They check it out. And that's where they come. They find a 17-year-old Paul Zytel at his home. They searched the house. They found more than 220,000 printed images, weighing in at 2,600 pounds. This cat had a literal ton of child porn strode throughout his house in boxes on boxes on boxes in his garage, or excuse me, in his office and in his bedroom. Obviously, they arrested the guy. He's in on a $250,000 bond.
It's Herbert.
You boys like pop.
It's Herbert from Family Guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Herbert the pervert.
You can take your shirt off if you want to.
Attorney accused of stealing settlements to cover drugs and porn.
Was it child porn?
An attorney suspended by the Florida Supreme Court is accused of taking settlement money from his personal injury clients. Deputies say 44-year-old Christopher Reynolds used the money on items including drugs, prostitutes, ride sharing. I don't know if that's in there. I don't know. And adult websites.
Just to show that he's not a total deviant.
Yeah.
He's responsible.
Yeah.
He takes an Uber when he goes out.
Yeah.
Come on.
Drugs, prostitutes, DoorDash, and adult websites. Drugs, prostitutes, bespoke, adult websites. Why did they throw that in there? It's so weird. The detectives say at least 16 clients lost more than $850,000. They believe there's more victims. He could face as much as 30 years in prison if convicted on all charges.
Damn.
Congratulations. I got good news. I got bad news. What's the good news? We won.
Woohoo.
What's the bad news? Ooh, there's no money left.
Sweet potato cracks 2011 cold case leads to Massachusetts man's arrest.
Is that like the informant's name?
They call me Sweet Tater.
Hey, man, don't talk to Sweet Potato.
No, the Massachusetts police made a pretty spectacular break.
Oh, don't.
Yeah, Friday, in a decade-old case murder thanks to an actual sweet potato. They arrested the suspect on Friday in a February 27th, 2011 shooting death of Todd Lampley. Cops found the alleged killer's DNA on a sweet potato left at the scene. Yeah.
You don't like sweet potatoes?
No, it's the DNA left on a sweet potato.
Yeah. So
Good Lord, dude.
That's not what they're for.
Davaris Hampton of Mashpee was arraigned Monday in Barnstable District Court.
Mashed potatoes.
Mashpee. Yeah. Charges of murder, assault, and battery with a deadly weapon. He's 40 years old. He pled not guilty, was ordered to be held without bail. Police found 3 shell casings, a black cell phone, and a sweet potato with a hole through it at the scene. Investigators reportedly found his DNA on the sweet potato.
Pause.
He used it.
There's only 2 reasons that Sweet Tater has a hole in it.
You don't put holes in potatoes.
You do if you want to stick something in it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't. I am not aware, and it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, of any delicacy made with pomme de terre, apples of the earth,
Mm-hmm.
that have a hole in it. Now, twice baked potatoes, sure.
Yeah.
You scoop everything out, make the mashed taters with everything, put it back in,
Mm.
crisp it up, right?
Mm,
Delicious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's about it. I can't think of another, and I've never seen that done with sweet potatoes. Not that I couldn't. The skin's not as dense as a regular potato.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So picture this. He
Mhm.
holds the potato My mouse as the potato, or my
Everybody who's watching at home, yeah.
He used the sweet potato as a silencer.
Yeah, got it from a TV show.
Yes, he sure did.
Oh.
In court, prosecutors recalled a scene in the hit HBO series The Wire when a sweet potato was used to mask a gunshot.
I think a sweet potato is the worst potato to use as a silencer.
Oh, okay. Say
because
more.
it's weird shape. All right. Most sweet taters are oddly shaped. If you want a good tater to silence your pistol, you're going to use like a regular bacon potato, right? Something large, girthy, you know, not something that's all weird and jagged looking.
Here's why I say a sweet potato makes a great silencer, because of its odd shape. They're so weird. Most times you have sort of a skinny side to it and then the wider side to it. So you have kind of like a handle and then the part for the gun to go through.
I would go with the density of the material on the inside of a regular potato, or like a russet.
Minor point.
A russet is like not. It's not as dense as the interior of a sweet potato. But to me, the amount of work you have to do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be holding the tater up to the gun and then pulling the trigger. I'm afraid something happened and end up blowing a thumb off.
Yes.
I would be drilling a hole in said tater and then slide it over the barrel.
What? And then you got to make sure you have the right drill bit?
Right.
This feels like a lot. Just take a 2-liter bottle like he did in The Shooter.
Right. Or an old oil filter. You get that from a lot of zombie video games.
Right. Or maybe sleep on it.
And then come back
and then decide if it's still something you want to go after.
I don't want to shoot this person now.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that was what you were getting ready to demonstrate.
Uh-huh.
I literally thought I was witnessing someone's last moment on radio. I was like, go ahead, girl. See what you got. We all control our own destiny.
Right.
Why didn't you stop her? What? You tell me not to intervene.
Right? Here on the Big Man Morning Show, we let them hang themselves.
Yeah. This says, I'm about to get divorced from my wife of 10 years because I made a stupid mistake and had a one-night stand. We got in an argument. I left, went to the bar, slept with some woman, and almost immediately the guilt took over me. She has told me it's over, but I have to try. What can I do to get her to give our marriage a second chance? Good morning. It's the Big Mad Morning Show. 918-460-KMOD. You can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. I'm Corbin. Good morning. Good morning, Lindsay.
Good morning. You know, I've noticed one thing being a part of the show. We talk a lot about food and cookies, in particular, the Oreo cookie. And today, March 6th, is National Oreo Cookie Day. In 1912, the first one was sold, and it has been the best-selling cookie in America ever since.
Gay!
Mocha ones are delicious.
There you go.
Crunch those up on some ice cream. Good morning, Gimpy.
Morning, Corbin. Why don't you go ahead and hit up the website that rocks, KMOD.com. Click on the contest tab and sign up to join us on a crawl for cancer.
All right, we're going to do best and worst of the weekend. What's the best thing that happened this weekend and the worst thing that happened this weekend? Lindsay, what's the best and what's the worst?
The best, I would say, is the weather. It was gorgeous. Sun was shining, temps were nice and warm, so we got to spend a lot of time outdoors, did some yard cleanup and cleaned out the garage. Kids were outside, not on their electronics, playing at the park, playing outside with friends, got the kids on their bikes, got them the youngest more confident on their bikes, so that was really nice. The worst, I guess, would have to say, have you ever just woken up and just been in a really crappy mood because that was
Usually
me
on Mondays.
Yeah, that was me on a Saturday of all days. I must be ready for our crawl for cancer where we'll be day drinking because that's really I woke up wanting to just day drink and I couldn't.
Why didn't you?
Why?
Because I had to clean house.
You can still
that's what I
drink and
did.
clean house at the same time.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
literally
did
can.
afterwards, but I just was not in the mood to clean. I struggled through it and I was just moody and I was like, I don't want to do this. I did. And then when Kevin got home from work, he was like, I got a surprise for you. I was like, oh, that's nice. That perked me up. And some friends of ours came over and had a couple of cocktails and that was a good way to end my day. So yeah, went from bad to good. So perfect.
Best and worst of the weekend. Gimpy, what's the best and what's the worst?
Man, I guess the best part of the weekend would be Saturday Jerry Cantrell concert. It was pretty packed house, lower bowl at the Brady Theater, Tulsa Theater. I played some Alice in Chains, did some solo stuff, and it was a good show from what I remember. Worst part of the weekend, I guess, the pet cack in my Honda, my other motorcycle, started leaking and drained an entire gas tank.
What'd you call it? What is it?
It's petcock. Fuel shutoff valve. It's what it's technically called.
Okay. I'm
pet cack.
Okay.
I was thinking he got another pet that I
That's
don't know
what
about.
I was like, he got a rooster? Like, I just wasn't clear. So, and he's got nicknames for things. So I just needed some clarification.
There is a house around my neighborhood somewhere that does have a rooster.
Sure.
And I hear that bitch crowing early ass in the morning when, on the weekends when I'm there. Anyway, so it leaked an entire gas tank. We're talking 3 gallons of gas. So lean in my garage. So my goddamn house reeked of gasoline. I got lucky for me. I've got this economy sized bag of wood chips from an old pet. So I just threw a bunch of that sawdust down, let it soak it up, and then shoveled it into a trash bag. I got a highly flammable trash bag in my can now.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, this sucks. So I ended up just pushing it away from the house for now. And then I'll get it fixed when we get paid or whatever. But doesn't stop it from sucking my whole damn house. Reeked of gas. Like I wake up in the morning like, it reeks of gas. The smell is what woke me up. Not so much any kind of noise or anything. It was the this smell that woke me up. I was like, God damn, that is bad.
Yeah, that much gas is that's dangerous.
Yeah. So we got it all cleaned up and it doesn't smell like gas.
What does one of those run?
I can get one anywhere from $13 to $130. It just depends on what I want to spend on it. So like I said, when I get paid, I'll get her fixed up and get her taken care of before summertime comes
Is that
around.
An easy replacement?
Oh, yeah. Just pull the tank and undo a couple of screws and then screw the new one in and there we go.
Last words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can do. Yeah.
Yeah. What's the worst or what's the best then?
Jerry Cantrell.
Oh, right. Best and worst of the weekend, 918-460-KMOD. You can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. Best of the weekend was we went out for our anniversary and we got a hotel downtown and just had someone watch the kids and did some walking around downtown and ate downtown and ran into so many listeners. It was crazy how many listeners we ran into in the lobby of the hotel. One listener tried to stop me to help me get him on the radio. And I was like, email Gimpy. He will help set all that up.
I got you covered, bro.
And and then another friend or another listener was like, hey, I was going to help in that situation, but I didn't know. I'm like, you just left me hanging? So that was kind of cool.
That's fun. Which hotel did you stay? Did you go to the Maya?
Stayed at the Indigo.
Ooh.
Right there by Reds and that whole little area.
I get where you're at. Yeah. That's kind of a newer one now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been there for
years now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was nice. And the worst part was we went out to eat and it sucked.
Really?
It sucked.
Was it one of those ones that you were like super excited? I've heard great things about this place. Let's go check it out, honey. Yeah,
it's a place we've been a couple of times and we were like, yeah, let's do this. It's easy.
Yeah.
No reason to get crazy.
Mm.
And and it was just like disappointing.
Wasn't consistent. You remember?
No, I actually remembered why we hadn't been there in a while once we ate. But it was good. Finally get to celebrate the weekend. It almost didn't happen because Friday, my kids are like, "Oh, I don't feel well," and all these things. I'm like, "You son of a bitch!" Past the time the hotel can be canceled, all that. Best and worst of the weekend. What's the best thing that happened? What's the worst thing that happened? Worst of the weekend. Wife got COVID and was in bed sick all weekend. Best, I had a quiet, peaceful weekend.
Because your old lady's sick. Not running her mouth.
Best is a huge financial change. No foreclosure. Worst part, absolutely forgot that I was supposed to be playing in church service this weekend. Did not set my alarm and slept through it.
You're going to be so disappointed.
He must have wanted you to not sing.
Yeah.
He's saving the other people.
Yeah. Worst, outlets in my house stopped working, including the fridge. Best, it's over and now we got the Rocklahoma lineup. The thing that I think is crazy about that is when you're like, you start panicking when you're out. Like my outlets, some of the outlets in my house stopped working, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure it out. And I knew there was a fault breaker, like a fault outlet breaker in the pantry. And I went in and it was fine. I was like, I can't figure this out. And the breakers at the breaker box were fine. So, like a GFC box. And so I was like, called an electrician. He came out. He's like, yeah, there's another fault breaker besides that one. And usually it's on the back porch. He went out there. Doomf.
There you go.
And I'm like, son of a bitch. He's like,
that'll be $100.
He's like, I got to charge you a trip charge. And I was like, I know. He's like, do you have anything else you want done?
Anything.
And I was like, some leaves? He's like, no. So yeah, that can be a torture, man. Best, got to see the Riff Lord Jerry Cantrell. Worst, Gary Rosington died. Yeah, I saw that. Of Skinner. So did Tom Sizemore, man.
Yeah.
Nobody had either one of those people on their death pool, by the way. Best part of the weekend, I finally made it back to riding motorcycle after a wreck in October and surgery on November 1st. The worst part would be getting a one-day weekend to do work. Best of the weekend, I got laid. Worst of the weekend, I was taking her home and I got a ticket for running a red light. No! That's what you get for taking her home.
Well, I can't just let her stay here.
No.
Right. Let me get you.
What an uncomfortable ride home.
Right. Especially if it wasn't as good.
For one of you. Right. If you're still in that phase, like, so what do you got planned the rest of the day?
Clearly you couldn't wait to get her home.
Right.
You ran on a red light.
Right. That's awesome. Best of the weekend, getting to see my daughter and getting her to spend some time with her cousins on my side of the family. Worst of the weekend, the company that I've worked for almost the past 8 years, almost 9, is having to shut down. Do y'all need any help in the studio? No. No. Best, my 2 daughters got baptized. It was amazing. Worst, the weekend ended. Best, my daughter got to go to an amazing center. Worst, I couldn't go. Epilepsy sucks. What's an amazing center?
Well, it's a center that's amazing.
It's a little bit better than good?
Yeah. I don't know. I've never heard of this amazing center.
Yeah, I don't know what an amazing center is. Yeah, I got none. I don't
know
I'd
either.
like to Google it, but I'm afraid it's going to come up with centers that are amazing.
Yeah. And my 2 daughters getting baptized, it was also amazing is used quite a lot today.
Yeah, it is.
And aren't all baptisms the same?
No.
What makes one baptism more better than the other?
Well, I don't know how much, if it's better or more amazing or whatever, but I mean, they're done differently depending on religion.
Some are with water, some are just with the Spirit.
No,
I thought you had to be Baptist to get baptized.
No. Some religions spray you with water, like do a mist, like and then some put you all the way underwater, like dunk you. So I don't know.
I don't know if that spray mist baptismal is like as good as being dunked completely underwater. More, it's just like, God.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think he minds. I don't think he's really got a preference.
I don't either.
I mean, I think originally you were supposed to do it in a certain river.
Right.
Then now they're putting, jacuzzis in churches and or doing an inflate. They do. And so that, or they, bless the local pool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I hardly think, is any different. Like, it's all, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I think that would be more annoying than anything. Just
yeah.
apparently there's an amazing amazing kids child development center here in town and one in Glenpool.
This says an amazing center is a play center here in Ohio.
Oh, well, okay. I'm sure there are amazing centers everywhere.
I feel like that's not a very good name.
Right?
I feel like they got really lazy on it.
Mhm.
I just
Maybe it stands for something.
okay.
That's the worst acronym ever.
Absolutely.
Why
it
make
is.
acronyms that are that long? I'm fascinated by this amazing center. All right, listen, we got a pair of tickets to our 50th anniversary concert happening at the BOK Center in April. Shine down in 3 days grace. Tickets available, bokcenter.com. We'll take a break. We'll do that when we come back.
You're listening.
You always know, I think, depending on which friend it is.
Snooping.
Oof.
Yeah.
Opening the cabinet
Yeah, you
to
don't
look
do
through the
that.
medicine kit. You feel like you give the vibe that you do that.
No, I don't do that.
Okay, it's not an insult. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it gives a vibe.
Why? What
Because
gives
you're
you that
nosy.
vibe?
You're very nosy.
What makes me nosy?
Well, you'll walk into a room when a conversation's happening going, wait, what are we talking about?
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You love knowing other people's gossip.
Yeah. I'll watch those gossip shows.
No, I'm talking
they're
like
there
personal
for.
gossip. I'm not talking about TV shows.
Yeah. If we're here, I don't want to miss out on anything for sure.
Yeah, that's nosy.
Yeah.
Bringing an uninvited plus one.
Yeah. Because now you're forcing the other people to like entertain somebody they don't know. It just makes everything.
Or don't
Yeah.
like.
Exactly. And it's not your place to be inviting somebody else over.
Feeding their dog.
Huh? Oh, like table scraps or something?
I think that's what they mean,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine you'd be like, where's your chow chow so I can put it in the
Mhm.
bowl? Yeah. Some people do that. Some people think that because they feed their dogs table scraps or popcorn or whatever,
Yeah.
that they can do that with your dog.
That's good that your dog's stomach has adapted to that. But now you're going to make your friend's dog crap all over their house because it's not used to that.
Showing up empty-handed.
I don't think that's that bad. I mean, do I have to bring potato salad every time I come over?
No?
Exactly.
No, I always take something.
Yeah. I always take a bottle of wine.
Okay.
Always, always.
All right. I usually got my medicine on me, so that just works out perfectly.
Yeah, but that's not extra, right? Like you said, it's like offering him a cigarette.
Right. I don't have to share with you, though. That's the thing. I don't have to.
Yes, but you're not going out of your way is the point, right?
Listen, I'm the guy that goes to Walmart and gets the cookies for the potluck that we're having here at work, okay? Do you expect more from me?
Yeah, I think if you go to someone's house and they're making, like, let's just say dinner still,
Mhm.
you got to take something.
Yeah.
I did. I brought
Even
my
a
appetite.
dessert or wine, whatever.
Yeah.
Something.
It's just manners, Gimpy, right?
Right. Yeah, sure.
No?
Listen, y'all invited me over. Okay, cool. I'll come over and have dinner. That's all right. Doesn't mean I have to bring a bottle of wine or a 6-pack or a bottle of anything for that fact. That's that. Unless you say so. Hey, BYOB, bring a bottle, bring a side item. We'll get the main course. That happens to me a lot. We got the main courses. Come on over for barbecue, whatever. Bring a side item. All right, cool. Tater salad it is.
I've never gone to someone's house
Mhm.
and like looked around and said to myself, that's so dirty here.
Oh.
Ugh.
Wow.
What do they have lives? Right? I don't go, their sheets, they didn't even make their bed. I don't do all that
Oh, I bet you have.
Look down my
No.
nose at you.
because life happens.
Depends on the level of the filth, right? If you walk into somebody's house,
If you're
and
a
it looks like
hoarder?
hoarders, yeah, exactly.
I ain't going to your house. I already
Yeah.
know you're a hoarder.
But this is the first time you didn't realize that they were disgusting people or hoarders until you walk into their house,
oh,
right?
no. You
get
can read a
totally
hoarder a
thrown
mile
off
away.
guard.
No, you can read a hoarder a mile away.
Hoarder.
Yeah, you can read a hoarder a mile away.
You just tell by the way they dress. their lack of showering.
Or by their vehicle.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, right? I think absolutely.
But you still don't say anything. You just kind of watch where you sit down, maybe scooch the newspapers or whatever, paper plates with leftover pizza rolls on them and hang out for a little bit. And I got to go. I got it.
If I'm going to judge, I'm judging, like, I'm going to judge the food. So I'm not going to judge, like, hey, your bed wasn't made.
No.
I'm going to judge, oh my God, you served Brussels sprouts or whatever that is.
Right.
I'm not going to get all like, ugh, you didn't clean for my arrival.
Right. Good. You're right. Life happens,
Life
especially
happens.
if you've got small children.
And you're having a dinner party.
Right. You can expect toys to be all over the place. Now, there's a difference between, a little clutter, kids don't know how to pick up their toys, and your house looks like Ross, dressed for less. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would think if you're hosting a dinner party, you would want to clean up.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think.
But that's not necessarily true, especially if you're like, hey, come over tonight, we're having pizza. Pizza feels like there's no cleaning happening.
Yeah, it's okay to have your laundry still piled up on the back of the couch from like 4 days.
You should at least pick it up and throw it on your bed.
Yeah.
Right? Give me a place to sit.
Right. Just move the panties over. It'll be fine.
It's always like, I've gone and I stopped getting in the car with this person when I went to get in their car and they're like, hold on. And they had to like unload a bunch of stuff from the seat and the floorboard into the back seat so I could sit down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you invited me to get in your car.
You should have had that fixed up beforehand.
Or just don't invite me into your car.
I'm with you.
Right? If you don't have a place for me to sit, what are you doing inviting me over?
I just like the company.
I'm not a charity. Yeah. So that would be, I'm judging food. What do you judge? What's your judge when you go to someone's house? If it's
cleanliness.
Cleanliness?
Probably, yeah. Especially if you're having a dinner party.
Yeah, I might do that too. Gimpy?
Definitely cleanliness. And it doesn't have to be sparkling like you walk in and everything's ting, 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 No. But if you're inviting people over, dinner party, or just to hang out and have a smoke sesh, you might want to just kind of pick up the bulk of
smoke
things
sesh.
first.
You're so bougie.
Yeah.
You're going over to get high and you're like, man, the house was so dirty.
Yeah.
So dirty.
Well, yeah, if you got to, you can't put your soda down or your water down on the table because, it's littered with empty cans.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
Go get a damn trash bag.
But
clear off the table and it'll be fine.
Yes.
I'm not saying you have to run the vacuum.
Right.
All right. Just don't make people come in and be like, oh God. Oh God. And furthermore, Susan, if it smells a little bit, just spray something. Just spray something in the air. You don't want to walk into somebody's house and get hit with a brick wall of stank. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to be careful too. Don't go crazy. Right? If you're unloading half a can of Lysol,
right. You're
obviously covering up a smell.
Yeah.
Right?
Which will reveal itself in a little bit.
In due time.
Yes.
It's not permanent.
It smells like wildflowers and ass.
Yeah. Is it Febreze?
And mold.
Febreze is literally advertised to cover up stink.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which means you have a problem if there's stink in the house. What about a toilet bowl that's got a pink ring in it?
I'm not judging that.
Gross.
It's pink mold.
Yeah.
It's mold.
Gross.
Yeah.
In the toilet bowl.
Yeah. That's okay.
Ugh.
Now, I mean, there's a difference between is there sitting urine or like, Mr. Hanky, is he taking
Skin
a
marks.
swim right there?
There's some rubbing is racing.
Right. Like,
Gross.
previous person was a freckler. I get what you're talking about. Yeah. Dude, that happens, bro. That happens in everybody's house. I'm hoping that you would, at least go in there and take that little brush and whirl around a little bit.
But you didn't.
You didn't, exactly. But I mean, it is what it is. Everybody poops. Everybody has that, whatever you may need a knife for. It's okay.
Bidet, dude. Bidet. Bidet.
Right. I get it. That cleans the skid marks off of your end, but I mean, this is down on the porcelain. I don't think it works like that.
Eat some fiber. What's the strangest type of bird that you'd be willing to eat, such as a shoebill stork? You know what a shoebill stork is, Lindsay?
No.
Look up shoebill stork. Shoebill stork. It will, if I remember correctly, this is a very bizarre looking bird. It almost looks human-like.
Got a giant honking schnoz.
It is terrifying.
Yeah.
It will haunt you in your nightmares. And if I remember right, it makes a horrendous sound. A very loud noise. It's not like a beautiful chirping or anything. It's a very loud noise. The shoebill stork. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your pick?
Probably a. What's the one? What are the We call him. My husband calls it a Harry Truman, and that's not what its real name. We see
dropping bombs.
Huh?
Is it just dropping bombs everywhere it flies?
It's the. Now I can't even think of the real name of it. You see them all a blue herring. Is that what it is?
Blue herring.
Isn't that a fish?
See them all the time on the.
So it's the ones you see in the ponds, and they got the long legs and stuff like that. Yeah.
The heron. Yes.
Great blue heron.
Yes.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity.
Gimpy?
Can I say big?
Huh?
Big
bird.
Big bird. Okay.
Oh.
If we're going like a legit bird, I'm going to go with the flamingo.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show, 918-460-KMOD. You can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. Let's play a game. Because we got tickets to the 50th anniversary concert for KMOD. 50 years as your rock station. It's going down Monday, April 24th at the BOK Center. Shine down, 3 days grace. Tickets available, bokcenter.com. Or you can try and win them right now with a little game we call 10, 20, 30, 40, right? And we've been around that long, and we want to see if you know your music. Let's get started.
That's right. Do you know 50 years of KMOD rock, baby? Let's find out. 3 songs from 50 years as your rock station. Answer correctly, you win, baby. 918-460-KMOD. Groove, baby.
Pretty easy. I'm going to play 3 songs. You'll tell me which one is from the year I'm requesting. You got to know your years of KMOD rock to win tickets to the 50th anniversary concert. Let's go to the phones here. Good morning. You're on the air. What is your name?
Ray.
Ray, how are you today?
Good. How about you?
Good, man. Ray, I'll play 3 songs, and I'll tell you what year I'm looking for, and you tell me which song is from that year. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here's the first song.
Shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up. Shake it up.
What do you think, Gimpy?
I've heard that, but I don't know who.
Rico Kasich and the Cars, Shake It Up.
Yeah.
Right? Then there's this one. To be quite honest, Ray, if you don't know that, I don't know if I want you at the 50th anniversary concert. Lindsay?
Some Led Zeppelin there?
Yeah, that's Led Zeppelin, yeah. Yeah, all right. And then here's the third one. Some Van Hagar, right? Right now?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm looking for the song from 1981. Tickets for the 50th anniversary concert are on the line. The song from 1981. What do you think?
I'm going to say the Van Hagar.
Van Hagar is what you're going with?
Yes, sir.
All right. That was this song. Ray, you won't be getting tickets from us for free because that came out in 1991.
Oh, 91. Womp womp. So it was the Cars.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Well, all right. Thanks so much, man.
Have a good one.
All right. See you later. Yeah. Okay. Hey, buddy. How are you?
Good.
Good. What? Let me play the songs, and then I'll tell you the year again. So there's the first one. Yeah, that's Led Zeppelin, of course. And here's the other one.
Shake it up. Shake it up.
Yeah, Rick Ocasek and the Cars. And then the third one.
Hey! So tomorrow. Right now, come on. It's
All right, we're looking for the song from 1981. Which one is it?
I'm going to go with the Cars.
Cars. Someone said it even. Right on, man. Congratulations. You're going to be going to the 50th anniversary concert of KMOD with Shinedown in 3 days. Grace, hang on line so Gimpy can verify your info, friend.
Thank you, brother.
All right, good job, man.
I didn't know that Van Halen came out in
A little trick one, yeah. For an awful carnal knowledge, man. I remember getting it was a double album, and it I think quadruple folded open.
Yeah.
The CD did.
That's not something you see very many of anymore. A good double album.
I mean, you do, and it's not an album, right?
Right. It's all digital now or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the last double album I had was probably Melancholy and Infinite Sadness from Pumpkins. Yeah.
That's a fun trivia question. I'll go with that as well because I can't recall the last CD I got.
No, me either.
That's a good one too.
Right? The
Last
mechanic, right? The
CD.
mechanical, right? We're talking about the actual CD you bought, open, all that other stuff. Jimmy Fallon was on TV this weekend talking about vinyl. I've never been a big vinyl guy. Right?
Nowadays, they're making it's the all-in-one record player, cassette tape, CD player, radio, all in one.
Right.
Which is
Come
neat.
on.
It's kind of neat if you have all of those things. Not a lot of people keep their cassette tape.
Well, his sell for the vinyl was that you can hold it and you open it up. It's like a book and it's got some artwork on it. You can learn about the. Sure. Of course, the sound is unique. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to lug it around.
No.
I got to be honest. I love being able to go. I want to hear System of a Down and open my phone and hit play, and it plays on my TV or whatever speaker I'm getting it through. Right.
You don't have a milk crate full of records.
Or it's putting them out of order, or I got to move them, or they get scratched. Right. I don't want something to maintain. I got plenty of those things. And furthermore, Susan, when do you have the time? When does Jimmy Fallon have time to sit down and put on a vinyl and sit there and open the sleeve and do all? I don't have time for that.
At the end of the day, when he sits down and kind of gets undressed and he's got his nice glass of wine, and puts his feet up. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't see him having time for that.
I had a massive CD collection. I had nearly 5,000 CDs.
That's a lot of CDs.
I had bought a wall system. It was massive. I moved it 6 times, and it was a ton of work. And I remember the last time I moved it, I'm like, I will not move this again. I'm done.
Yeah.
No one appreciates it more than me, which is fine. But even I got to a point where it's like, I'm not even playing these.
Right.
I get to go, hey, do you have, the Cars, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just so I could say I had it. And then I'd have to go through and make sure that, and someone would always not put it back where it belonged.
Right.
Always.
Did you upload all those CDs to a PC of sorts or
No.
whatever?
No. No, do you know how long that would take?
Oh, God, I know exactly how long it'll take.
Now
Takes for damn ever.
Yeah, and now you can get a service where you have it all at your fingertips anyway.
Absolutely.
There is any song you want, I can listen to it right this very second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it great?
It takes, I don't have to lug It's the easiest moving ever.
Right.
I just put it in my pocket.
You'll literally carry with you everywhere you go. You
Yes.
carry your entire music collection with you everywhere you go.
And we do family sharing, so it doesn't matter whose phone I have.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why I still own CDs. I don't have a CD player.
Oh, yeah, that's even more crazy.
No, yeah.
Your fancy car doesn't have one?
No.
What am I thinking?
Not a lot of cars that even come
My
with a
car
CD player.
doesn't. My wife's car does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know mine does. Mine does.
You have an older car, though, right? What year?
Right, it's 2012.
Okay.
so-
Okay. Yeah, that's just over 10 years.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I don't know what year they stopped putting them in vehicles, but they have.
I get the whole nostalgia of vinyl,
Uh-huh.
and I'm not shaming anybody who like wants to collect vinyl, and sure. But
Right.
to buy music on vinyl, I think it's just some like you think you're getting a better music sense than someone else.
Well, you can say I have this massive vinyl collection because they make you think like you're a hipster now or whatever. you know?
Well, there are some audiophiles that are like, I hear the difference. Or, okay,
I'm sure you do.
sure, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason the technology advanced. They didn't go backwards,
Right.
right? They went forwards.
love the clicks and pops of a record.
Some people do
Yeah, some
love
people
that.
do.
And certain music, I think it adds to the mystique of it.
Sure. If it's like an older band or something to that effect, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, something like that, when they were at the height of
Fun.
themselves, that's what it was on. But like, you're not gonna get, I don't know, this Tool, it's down in the same on vinyl, whatever.
I'll take the Beatles White Album
Mhm.
off on my phone than I will on an album. It-
Okay.
The point you're making is that it was made for that, right?
Mhm.
Mm-mm. I love the clarity, right?
Right.
So I don't think you're getting a better experience, but audiophiles love to make it sound like they hear some superior thing.
Right. As they twist their mustache and drink their IPA.
Kind of like the same thing that people that, I listened to that band a long time ago.
Before they were
Yes.
cool.
Yeah, right? Like there's some sort of, it puts you on this stature of a music nerd,
Mhm.
which is fine. It's also the same as like name 4 players on the team,
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
right? Fandom is a pretty broad stroke, but the vinyl thing, I just don't want to lug vinyl around.
Right. I get it, man.
Anybody who's like, I have a huge vinyl collection, I'm like, great, where is it? And they're like, oh, it's in the basement.
Yeah.
Right. If you were so proud of it, it would be on display.
Right. Well, let's play some. Oh, I don't have a record player.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fun.
Mm,
You got a bunch of plastic weights.
pretty much.
Taking up space.
Yeah.
Giant coasters.
I love looking through vinyl.
Uh-huh.
I love going to like Goodwill or wherever or a music store.
Right.
There's this place in San Francisco, Meba Music. It's a historic music store, and you go in there and you can sit there and just finger through. It's awesome. I don't buy anything.
Right.
Yeah.
It's cool to be like, look at this. This is so cool. And maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
I just don't want to move it.
I have the Rush 2112 album on vinyl, and it's so good. Such a difference. That's a text that came in.
That's awesome.
Get out of here.
That's awesome. What is the difference? No, I'm asking that text in. What's the difference?
Exactly.
Well, you'd have to hear it. Would I?
Mhm.
Would I? All right, we got to take a break, and we have our listeners are awesome coming up. Jeff Hensley will join us at 9. If you've got a question about divorce, custody, family law, any of those things, Jeff will be in with us at 9. So feel free to get your question to us a couple of ways. You can email show@kmod.com. You can text BMMS space and whatever your question is to 82945 or call when he's in the studio. We'll be back.
Tells us a package because you're sure not picking up anything else.
Who delivers stuff to your house? Who delivers stuff in honks?
I don't know.
No one.
Usually they
UPS?
knock on the
No,
door,
no one.
ring a doorbell.
For us, DoorDash?
Right.
Domino's in the time like that? No, that's not a
Sure.
thing.
It says alternative rule number 5: only delivery men honk. Dates ring the doorbell once. That was his alternative to the number 5.
Okay.
Honking.
Oh, okay.
All right, so number 6, no complaining while you're waiting for her. If you're bored, change my oil. Change, not check.
Mm.
I don't know. If you know who John Ritter was, he might mean.
He
Something
did play a
completely
little
different.
Fruity Fruit on Three's Company.
Word?
At least to Mr. Furley, Mr. Roper, he
They
was
believe
supposed to
he
be.
was,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Number 7, if your pants hang off your hips, I'll gladly secure them with my staple gun.
Mm.
What
Yes.
a dick.
Assault.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, not on brand for
Nope,
John Ritter.
not at all.
And lastly here, number 8 for 8 simple rules of dating my teenage daughter. Dates must be in crowded public places. You want romance, read a book.
I like it.
Again, that might be the most on brand of all of them.
Yeah.
For John Ritter.
Yeah.
I had to look up whether or not John Ritter ever played a bad guy. And the only one I found was his role in the film Bad Santa. Bob Chapesca.
With Billy Bob Thornton?
Yes.
Was he still alive at that time? I mean,
In
apparently the internet says so, but
2003.
okay.
He was out to expose him for the hard-drinking, offensive brute that Billy Bob Thornton's role was.
Sure enough.
Yeah.
Sure enough. And John Ritter died in 2003.
Mhm.
Wow. So shortly after he did that, I guess.
Yeah.
How about that?
I feel like I saw him in a, because he was in Sling Blade, if I remember correctly, too. Like he was the friend, he was the father of the boy. Was he evil in that?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But Problem Child, we know him as.
Yeah.
I feel like there was he played Roy Slade. Is that right?
In Sling Blade? No.
No. Oh, he was the priest.
Mm.
That feels on brand for John Ritter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who had John Ritter on there? What they'll talk about today? Bingo card.
Yeah, not me.
Nobody. I found some myths about serial killers.
Oh, fun.
All serial killers are men. That is a myth.
Well, yeah.
Reality is that it's just not true. As of late of 1998, a highly regarded former FBI profiler said there are no female serial killers. The news and entertainment media also perpetrate the stereotypes that all serial killer offenders are male and that women do not engage in horrible acts of violence. The lethality of a female fatale is presented in book or film. She's most often portrayed as the manipulated victim of a dominant male.
Mm.
The reality concerning the gender of serial killers is quite different from the mythology of it. There have been many more male serial killers than females throughout history. The presence of female serial killers is well documented in crime data. We pointed that out when we did our list the other week.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, approximately 17% of all serial killer homicides in the U.S. are committed by women. Only 10% of total murders in the U.S. are committed by women. Therefore, relative to men, women present a larger percentage of serial murders than all the other homicide cases in the U.S. How about that? All serial killers are Caucasian. That is a myth as well. They span all racial and ethnic groups. The racial diversity of serial killers is generally mirrors that of the overall U.S. population.
Okay.
So they're not always white. All serial killers are isolated and dysfunctional loners. We're led to believe that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the film Red Dragon, the Tooth Fairy serial killer. Real life serial killers are not the isolated monsters of fiction, and frequently they do not appear to be strange or stand out from the public in any meaningful way.
Look like normal everyday people.
Yeah.
I.e. Ted Bundy.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
John Wayne Gacy.
Fourth myth. All serial murderers travel widely and kill interstate. So that's not true. The most infamous serial killer, Ted Bundy, is the rare exception who traveled and killed interstate. Bundy twice escaped from police custody and committed at least 30 homicides in states of Washington, Utah, Florida, Colorado, Oregon, Idaho, California.
Yeah, I kind of guess that makes sense. I mean, if you're killing people, the bodies are going to start stacking up in your hometown. Right? So it's like, let's move around, try to just not to get caught sort of thing.
Yes, but again, that's a myth that they mostly happen
in their
in a concentrated area.
Mm-hmm.
Fifth myth. All serial killers are either mentally ill or overly or evil geniuses.
Okay.
Think of like Dr. Hannibal Lecter. These stereotypes are not accurate. Instead, serial killers are much more likely to exhibit antisocial personality disorders such as sociopathy or psychopathy, which are not considered to be mental illness by the American Psychiatric Association. An examination of psychopathy and sociopathy and a discussion of the powerful connection between antisocial personality disorders and serial homicide is in a book that you can read more about that. I'm not. Think about like 7, like you think he's antisocial.
Ah.
That makes sense.
Right. Creepy, weird guy in the back.
Yeah.
Murders cats on the weekends because he's got nothing better to do.
So if
Or
it's not,
people.
Or
so
people.
if it's not a mental illness, then you would be able to stand a trial.
It's not a mental illness recognized.
Mm.
Okay.
The wording there is really important.
Yeah.
It's not a mental illness recognized by the American Psychiatric Association, which probably goes to what you're saying.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Because if I say you're a psychopath, that seems okay, apparently.
Right. You say I'm a serial killer. Like, no.
Right.
Never.
So we'll find out more about this guy as the story comes out.
Mhm.
But for them to enter, like, they were following him. They had a guy that thought was a suspect. They were following him.
Mhm.
And they're like, hey, wait a minute. Is he got to go? We got to go now.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Officer, Sergeant, we got to go. We got to go. What's happening? You're just supposed to watch him. No, man, he's got a mask and a gun. We think he's going to kill right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, it would suck if they, got the wrong person. And it was just some guy,
It's
maybe
possible.
dressing up for like a early Halloween party or
A prank or something.
a prank or something
Yeah.
like that. And
It's kind of a weird prank to put a gun in your pocket.
No kidding.
it is
It's
California, and there are serial killers on the loose, Corbin.
Sure.
I'm
How
just
crazy
saying.
would it be if they didn't catch him, but this was a different serial killer?
Oh my God! Right. Totally caught a different killer by accident.
They didn't know.
Meanwhile, he still got this guy over here.
Right.
So we'll find out in the next couple of weeks.
Right. They have to quell nervousness.
Mm-hmm.
So can you? They would have to come out and go, we didn't get him. This isn't the guy. Dude.
Oh my God.
Poof. People would lose their ass.
Oh yeah.
They would get overly anxious.
Yeah. Because just when you thought there was one roaming around, we'll come to find out now you got 2 of them roaming around.
Or if it's
And you got one, and then this other one's still on the loose. Well, how many goddamn serial killers are out there just roaming around?
Or they announced that he can go. He can go free.
Right. Yeah.
What if you were wronging that guy and it was not, he's not a serial killer.
Uh-huh.
Or, oh my gosh, he is a serial killer. And you're like, I know him. We got in an argument over the rice-a-roni.
I consider myself lucky then.
He comes into my diner. I serve him coffee every day.
Totally going to be those people. There are plenty of times I've been out on a lake and we stop, against a rock or whatever. Excuse me. And people get out and climb and then jump while we're waiting. I'm like, you're crazy.
Even just that water enema. No thanks. The water going up, that hurts.
I don't
Does
think
that
that's
happen?
ever actually
Yes.
physically happened to
I don't
me.
know if that's a thing.
I've jumped off of a lot of things and into some bodies of water, but that thing's pretty well watertight.
It's painful.
Huh. I don't know if I've ever heard this happen. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
So you've jumped and received a rather substantial amount of water into your body.
Yeah, it hurts. It hurts. It happened when we went to Skytook and we jumped off of the little cliffs, and it happened to my husband and he said it was very painful. It happened to me when I jumped, and then when I landed, I got the biggest welt and bruise on the side of my leg.
Well,
and
what
all
does
the
that
way
have
up
to do
my
with the
hip.
water?
It all hurts.
So hitting the water hurts.
Yes.
Okay, you know what an
Yes.
enema is, right?
Yes.
What is an
And
enema?
that-
I
when
need
the
to
water
hold
shoots up?
on.
Yes.
What is an enema?
The water entering
Your butt.
your butt.
butt.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay.
But
Mhm.
Because you're talking about a couple different things,
Mhm.
and I just want to make sure we're understanding your story
Mhm.
correctly. Because you're talking about bruises and the water hurts when you hit it.
Mhm.
That I'll agree with 100%.
Yes.
Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show, 918-460-KMOD. You can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. Coming up, we got our listeners are awesome. But right now, let's see what's in Gibby's 4x4.
Well, Corbin, it says here senators are working on a bill to help ban and prohibit foreign technology. Senators are working on a broad bipartisan bill that'll outline the process to ban or prohibit foreign technology like TikTok. That's according to Senator Warner. The Virginia Democrat explained that he's working on a bill with old John Thune, a Republican of South Dakota, as U.S. officials grow increasingly concerned over what type of content Americans are consuming on the Chinese-owned video sharing platform. Warner said the app is taking data from Americans and can be used as a propaganda tool.
So, where do you stand on this, Gimpy?
I'm okay with it. I think that if we don't get it from TikTok, we're going to get it from someplace else.
Right, them stealing your information.
Oh, so them still, okay, they already are. Somebody is somewhere, whether it's China or us here in the States. Somebody's stealing my information. Somebody is selling it to a third party for whatever reason. And to be quite honest, I don't care. There's nothing I can do about it.
Lindsay?
I mean, they're already hacking into our bank accounts. And
they are?
There's
people hacking into our bank accounts?
Well, there have been.
People get hacked, yes, but
there have been, yeah.
But governments?
I mean, we're already using foreign technology. Our cell phones themselves are made in foreign countries. So.
Not just that. Pretty much every piece of computer's made in another country. That's where I stand, is like, why this? Why are we zoning in on this?
Right.
Exactly.
They just, because it's China. Whatever. 10 million people in western U.S. are under winter alerts. More snow fell in the mountains of California yesterday. Recent winter snowstorms that slammed Southern California prompted a state of emergency in more than a dozen counties late last week. Meantime, a storm system is expected to bring snow and rain to areas in and around the Great Lakes this week, affecting Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Chicago, and Detroit.
Have you seen the footage of like the drive to his house and the snow is super high? No. I mean, it's 10, 12 feet. It's crazy. No. It's crazy. I just don't have any sympathy for those people. You chose to live in that environment. Right. You knew it was going to happen, right? It isn't like a tornado wiped your house off.
Right.
Or a flood.
Right.
That'd be like, this will go away.
Right. The snow will melt.
Now, if you got stuck there and you're a visitor, okay, that's got to be crazy.
Yeah.
But the people that live there all the time are like, this is horrible. You knew.
Right.
You literally I've seen your pictures you send, how beautiful it is when it snows.
Right. Just because it's not, it's more than what you like or more than what you're comfortable with. Shut up. China sending weapons to Russia is a serious threat. At least that's according to Congressman Jim Himes. He said the possibility of China sending Russia lethal aid is a serious threat. He says that he doesn't think a final decision has been made, but he hopes that the wisdom prevails as Chinese officials weigh their options. He went on to praise the administration for sending a strong warning to China about helping Russia in their fight against the Ukraine. And then lastly here, Oklahoma Human Services offers a $100 stipend to families attending the regional DDS meetings. The Oklahoma Human Services Developmental Disabilities Services Division will host a second round of regional meetings across Oklahoma as more families transition off a 13-year wait list. Eligible families will receive invitations to the meetings based on their application date. Now, the meetings take place in Green Country in March of this year and are for families who applied for DDS services between April of 2012 and January of 2016. The sessions here in Green Country will take place from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Today in Broken Arrow and then Wednesday in Stillwater. Registration is required and meeting is free to attend. A $100 stipend will be available for families to offset the cost of attendance for travel or hiring of a caregiver.
The men's basketball coach at Texas Tech is being suspended over what school officials are calling a racially insensitive comment. According to the university head coach, Mark Adams used a biblical verse that included slaves serving their masters during an individual coaching session with a player on the team. Adams was originally issued a written reprimand after apologizing for his comment. The school's director of athletics later decided to suspend Adams and conduct an investigation of Adams' interactions with players and staff. Adams is white, while neither the identity nor the race of the player was revealed.
What's the verse? Do you know? Do you have it?
What's the what?
What's the verse he used?
He said...
I understood what you said, but do you know what the exact verse is?
I don't know what the exact verse was.
Because to me, that's what I'm curious of. Not that it's okay or okay or not okay. I don't know, but I feel like we got to know what the verse is.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just the word slaves that they had a big issue with. So that's your Balls to the Wall Sports. I'm Lindsay on 97.5 KMOD.
Balls to the Wall Sports is powered by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Great taste, 96 calories. More of the big beat up, shot at television, and let reality sink in of what he's actually done. Let him go to bed. Let him wake up sober.
See the TV again.
See the TV again with the bullet holes in the television and probably in the walls. And then we'll figure it out from there. Be like, listen, bro, you shot the television. How do I know that me, Miguel, Vera, and the rest of them are all... He's a Cowboys fan, so I'm just assuming. But how do we know that we're not next? I'm not going to take this chance.
Do you call the police?
Oh, this is the next day?
Whenever. You're at my house, that happens. Do you call the police?
You'd leave before you call the police.
On your way out?
Yeah, on the way out the door, like in the driveway, driving away. You know, if it was one of those, all right, he just got done shooting the television. I think this is my moment where I can leave. Like he's in the bathroom taking a whiz, right? Because he's been
you wait for your
all
moment.
To wait for your moment, and then you go ahead and you skedaddle on out of there. And you call the police and let them come over to the house and deal with it. And then you got to go to the house the next day, and then you got to see the TV on the ground with bullet holes in it. And then remember.
Yeah.
And then you change the locks.
Yeah. I think you definitely wait the next day. Calling the police feels like that makes sense.
It does. It does.
You fire a weapon within my proximity, I feel like I've got to call the police because that's not normal behavior.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of letting him marinate in it.
You sit here and think about what you've done.
You don't even need to say that, right? Right?
Right.
That's telling a fat person they're fat. They own mirrors. Like, you come in.
Shot the TV.
Yeah. Son of a. What happened to the team?
Right. Goes, stumbles up, still drunk a little bit. Oh, goddamn tequila. Ay, Dios míos. Goes for the television to turn on the news. Click, click. Nothing. TV's on the floor with bullet holes in it.
How stupid. And then do you upgrade after that, or do you just get whatever you get the Aspina brand that you've never heard of that's on sale for $200?
In case this happens again?
Yeah, right.
That's all you can afford. I mean,
right.
People don't keep a surplus TV budget. I don't think.
No, that's what pawn shops are made for, man.
I haven't bought a TV in like at least 4 years. And that's when I moved into the house. Oh, that's not true. I bought one for the playroom, I guess.
Yeah, but you bought one of the cheaper ones, right? You didn't go, Samsung or nothing like that.
Yeah. All I got to tell you is Roku. That's all I got to tell you.
I got one
a Roku TV is cheap and it works fine.
Absolutely.
People are like, well, how many HP did the thing and lines and all that? I'm like, it comes on.
Right. Does it have a picture? Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Can you get to the YouTube? Yes. That's it.
I'm confident with higher level brands, you get a different picture. Confident. I just don't care.
Right.
It's kind of like a diamond ring. There's different levels of a diamond ring.
Sure.
But you get over a certain threshold, the human eye, cannot tell the difference.
Right. Now you're just spending money.
Yeah, there's no reason to
status.
get, I don't know what it is, like an A diamond. You can't see the difference between an A, B, J, whatever. You need a monocle to do that.
Right.
So it's same with TVs. I'm like, who cares?
If it's going in the kids' room or like an outdoor TV, right there with you. If it's the main TV in the living room, though, no.
Oh, how about this? Someone's like, what if it's at your house? Like you invite me over to watch the game and I shoot the TV.
There is so much going on in that situation. One, you owe me a new TV, brah. Two, we're not friends anymore.
You can't shoot a gun in my house.
I'm calling the cops immediately. And if you try to run off before the police get there, I'm telling them everything. I'm rolling right on over. I'm telling them everything about you. Because now you've destroyed my house. It's one thing to destroy your own property. But you come into my house and you start firing guns.
And why do you got to carry a gun to a watch party?
Right.
Because you never know.
Sure.
Home invasions happen, Corbin.
Sure.
In the middle of football games.
No, listen, even robbers know there's nothing to take at a Cowboys fan house. Police investigate after marshmallows found with sharp objects inside.
Nice.
An investigation is underway in Michigan after residents found marshmallows containing fish hooks, tacks, and other objects on their property. Police just outside of Detroit say the first incident was reported back in May, but 2 other reports came in last week. So far, no one has been harmed, and they shown a lot of these mostly toasted coconut covered marshmallows, which are delicious. And people put nails in them, and they think it's to deter people from like having your animals on their land.
Okay.
Because the lady was like, I was just walking Toonces.
Uh-huh.
And then he came over and sniffed this marshmallow, and I saw it had nails in it. So I called the police. The police came over, and they were like, yep, sure is that.
Thanks, June. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which, if you work hard to keep your lawn nice,
Mm-hmm.
and then some local Yahoo comes and lets their dog take a crap on your yard, I can understand why you would be frustrated.
Yes. However,
Sure.
I feel there's a way to get around that. You could put up a hot wire border around your yard, and it's not going to be like seeing like a giant picket fence would or something to that effect, but it also would deter said animal from coming and taking a crap in your yard.
Yeah. Except if you're working hard to make your yard nice, a hot wire isn't exactly the most appeasing thing to make your yard look good.
Sure, all you got to do is just decorate the stakes that stick in the ground. You don't really see.
Dink, dink,
You
dink.
don't need those giant ones. Good Lord.
Tea steak, yeah.
You don't need one of those. You can get small kits at the Atwoods that work out just fine.
Still looks trashy, man.
I don't know, but it's sure better than I guess having to have marshmallows with nails in your
Right.
yard,
Or you could just let your dog crap in your yard.
well,
Yeah.
people are never going to let that happen.
Or pick up after your dog's crap.
That
Even
will
then,
never
you're
happen.
smearing it across the thing, man.
Mhm.
Like you're using that non-germ protective sack from the grocery store, and you're just like,
It still works just the same.
and you literally look at it and go, I'm not picking that up.
Yeah,
Depending on how it looks.
Mhm.
absolutely. If it was a rough day for the dog, nope. We'll just let the rain take care of that one.
Yeah, if the dog's feeling a little under the weather,
Right.
you can be like, Mother Nature's fertilizer
Yeah.
happening there.
Yeah.
Or you do the old left shoulder, right shoulder, keep going.
Oh.
Nothing to see here, folks.
Yes.
Yeah,
no
right.
poop over here.
Yeah. When I lived in San Francisco, I would have to walk my dog, and there's no grass,
Mhm.
right? In the city, there's no grass. I lived in the city. So only around where there's trees is there a little grass or dirt.
Right.
And some people's dogs are just trained to take crap right on the concrete.
Mhm.
They don't care.
And they don't clean it up. And you're like, now humans do it, but like the
Yeah.
dogs, and you just be walking and you're like, son of a bitch.
That's one of the worst
Ugh.
things. That will literally ruin a day.
Which is worse,
Uh-huh.
stepping in dog crap with shoes on,
Uh-huh.
or stepping in urine on the tile floor in your socks,
Or like carpet or something to that effect. Okay.
or because you
Okay.
don't see it right, and you're like, son of a bitch.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In a shoe, you go, you're like,
Right.
oh man,
Whatever. You get a hose, you can hose it off. Your sock
Yeah.
might get a little wet.
maybe,
Maybe. Mm-hmm.
or vomit barefoot.
Ooh.
Which one? You got to pick one. Gun to your head.
That's easy. That's an easy
I'm
choice,
going to
Lindsay.
say stepping in dog poop with your shoes on.
Gimpy.
Urine with socks on, man. All right, because the shoes easily to wash off. The barefoot vomit, easy to wash off. You gotta hop one-legged all the way to the, or hop it up in the sink in the kitchen, wherever you're
Right.
at.
It's
right,
on you.
it's easy to get it off. You're good. Ugh. Now I gotta walk my happy ass or hop from here all the way to the bedroom with a wet sock. I gotta change my socks. I just put socks on, as a matter of fact.
Right. Those were clean.
Ugh.
That's my favorite pair.
Wet sock, man.
Yeah. I think I'm with Lindsay. I got to do shoe, man. At least I can take that off and just spray it off.
You think that's the worst out of all of them? Because that's how I understood the question, which is worse out of those three options.
No, which one would you rather?
Oh, which would I rather have? Oh, that's easy. Yeah. Shoes.
So worst is for you is the
Yeah,
sock.
yeah,
Lindsay's
yeah.
worst one?
Oh, no. I think the poop on the shoe is the worst one. Saw the first one. That
Don't
was it.
care.
Mm,
It's just the new version of Rocky,
Mhm.
which is
right.
fine.
Mhm.
Good morning, Gimpy.
Morning, Gordon. If you want to come drink with me on a party bus next Friday, hit up the contest page. Looks at the rocks, KMOD.com.
All right, time for Our Listeners Are Awesome. We talk to our listeners and they share their stories about their life with us. And on right now is Jack. Hi, Jack. How are you?
Hey, guys. I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
I'm great, man. It says you're originally from Florida. Why did you move to Oklahoma?
I'm from there. I was born and raised. I left when I was in my, I left when I was like 19 or 20. I joined the military. So I've been there and back a couple of times. The last time I left, I got divorced. Was looking for a job. I was right kind of close to the end-ish of the pandemic, 2020. And the industry out here was really good. Everything was going well. It reminded me a lot of when I started out in Washington. And it's inexpensive to live out here compared to some of the other places. So it seemed like all around, professionally, financially, just a smart move at the time.
So where do you live now?
I'm in Tulsa.
Oh, okay. And you lived in Florida, and it says you went to school with Casey Anthony.
I didn't go to school with her. She went to a Catholic school down the street. I went to a school called Edgewater. She went to Bishop Moore, and they're right down the street from each other, just like a couple of miles. So, I remember, and it was like I didn't know her beforehand, but I worked at a local restaurant by the high school that everybody went to that had been there forever. So when the news and everything popped up and there's pictures of her and her family, I was like, oh, snap, I recognize those people. It's not like, they come in, hey, Mr. Anthony, how's your kids doing? How's little Casey? No, it was just kind of one of those I had recognized. I'd seen her at school events, sports, and different house parties and like that.
So you did run into her at parties, you said?
Yes.
And was she that party girl that she was on the news?
It was definitely the typical it was definitely bougie family, spoiled rich girl, get drunk with the wrong end of a cigarette.
Oh my God, this song is about life.
Type typical high school party girl.
Yeah, typical. Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary.
Right. Yeah. No, nothing crazy or anything. Just kind of the average drunk white girl at a high school party.
And one of the reasons we got connected with you is you worked at that village retirement community we've talked about on the air with the loofahs.
Yes, sir.
And was that a thing? Was the loofahs a thing?
I mean, all right. So it's not a confirmed. It's not with us. The employees. A lot of times, especially when you work in places like that, you're not supposed to, unless one of the guests or one of the residents, comes to talk to you. You're not really supposed to interact with them. You're not, mess around with their interpersonal lives. So it's never confirmed. It's not like we ever found an info chart of all the colors and what they mean. There wasn't a bunch of stuff posted around, but you see it. And I have seen, I've seen the whole people using pool noodles to find their cars because, amusement parks and beaches and things like that. But I have seen the loofahs on cars. And you put two and two together. If you do a cloak and shit, so you close the kitchen one night, you got to open the next morning because there's an event. A lot of times the residents will rent out. We have ballrooms, giggity, and different halls and sports events, stuff like that. The residents have their clubs and things that they do. So you'll see them at the end of the night and whatnot. And then you come in next morning, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and Nana's doing the walker of shame, wearing the same clothes she was wearing the night before. So I mean, it's not they don't talk about it openly, but you put things together, you see it, and Florida, that whole state is like that. They've got swingers conventions, they've got all the lifestyle events and parties and stuff. So it's not uncommon, to see that stuff, but it happens everywhere. So no one ever came up to me and said, hey, this is what's going on, or be like, hey, where's the orgy? Oh yeah, Ethel's holding it down the street, things like that. But put two and two together, you see it.
Nobody was legendary oh, there's Bertha.
I mean, there were a couple of residents that were kind of regulars or stuff like that, because of course they're older and it's very common for Alzheimer's patients or people who suffering from Alzheimer's to kind of wander around. And, that's dangerous in and of itself. But then if you're naked and you're wandering around, it's Mr. Glenn's on the back nine with his 3-wood out again type thing. So it's.
Wait, so you're saying, so hold on. So you're saying at this retirement community, it was common for people with a medical condition that would run amok?
I mean, if it happens more than once, those residents do, get relocated, family gets called, it does happen kind of towards the end of their their stay there. Some of them will get transferred, but yeah, it is common. And a lot of times you'll have like, a husband is taking care of his wife and he doesn't want to, like, he's got money. He doesn't want to put her in one of those, facilities just yet, but then eventually you kind of have to, you have to come to terms with that fact. But yeah, it's not uncommon to see a resident, wandering around in the streets. It's not like running amok like crazy, but yeah, sometimes they get a little confused, whatever. And you're in Florida, it's summer most of the year. People are in bathing suits and they're out in parties and they're tennis and all these different things like that. So yeah, it's also not uncommon to see naked old people wandering the street.
So here's my only experience with retirement communities. I drive by occasionally, weekly, by the retirement community up in Owasso. Right? Never have I seen somebody wandering around into the street or otherwise, or someone naked. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. I don't drive through the whole area, but I would feel like if you're walking amok, like whatever, borders mean nothing to you.
Right.
So, but that's crazy that it happens there.
And is it not a place that specializes in memory care? Because you mentioned an Alzheimer's patient, and in my experience with the memory care places, they have locks on the doors of that wing where if you want to get into that wing of the memory care, you have to have a code to get in. It's, and they don't know the code, so you're using a code to get into that area because they can't get out.
Right, and that's like at a facility, like an assisted care or hospice facility. This place isn't. It is basically like a kind of more involved gated community. Like it's not like a building with rooms. They are homes. It's front yards, backyards, streets. We've got there's a couple of restaurants. There's a couple of ballrooms. There's a bunch of like basketball courts and tennis courts and golf courses. There was a Bank of America. We had a Panera Bread. So it is a city. It's like it says a village. So it's not like a facility where you walk in and there's a hall and a bunch of rooms. It's, you have a house there. So some of them, there are medical, professionals on staff and things like that and security, but it is, it's a neighborhood.
Yeah, it's just like some houses that happen to only be elderly people in there. That's not the only thing.
Like you have to be a certain age to live in there, and there's gated, and it's off. It's not like on a main road or a normal neighborhood. There's land surrounding it because it is it's an exclusive community.
Not the only reason we had you on today. For our listeners are awesome, Jack. But it says you moved into the cannabis industry. What triggered you to move into the cannabis industry, and when was that?
I started when I got out of the military in 2010. I moved up to Washington, and just kind of got into it. It was like I needed a job, and I had been doing it, let's say, not professionally for most of my life. Like like anybody else, or like a lot of people in the industry, I'd started out just, selling weed to, in high school and college and things like that. So it was something that I knew I'd been smoking a large portion of my life, and it was big out there. So it was just something I did. I got a job as a trimmer starting out. They paid me in weed, which was a very common thing. It's like the busboy of the industry. So yeah, it was everywhere. It was there. I got the opportunity, and I've been doing it ever since.
So what was it that made you go, I want to do this? Like, what was the thing you were like, I'm done doing the old folks home thing, watching them bang, and I'm ready to get into weed?
Well, I don't know if I'll ever be done with that, but thankfully we have the internet. No,
weird, dude. That's a weird flex.
Hey, man, it takes all kinds. But no, I guess the main reason is I smoke a lot of weed, like a stupid amount of weed, and it was getting expensive. So I worked in retail, I worked in kitchens, and I knew a lot of times when you work and stuff like that, like it's always there. But it's always just been a big part of my life. I enjoy it. I'm not the most mentally stable person in the world, so it does. There just happens to be that also benefit that it helps me on a legitimate medical basis as well. So it was a big part of my life. I enjoyed doing it. And, you know, my thought process was like, why wouldn't I want to do it? Do it legally. Like I get to work with and sell and cultivate and process and, you know, deal with weed legally, you know, all day.
So when you got into it and you said you were a trimmer and they paid you in weed, was that a job that they had a Craigslist for, or how did you find that job and what was the interview process like? Did they go, can you hold these in your hand? Like, how did that work?
Actually, yes, it was a Craigslist ad. Funny enough, and it was just, you know, local dispensary looking for trim work. I think it was like 2 grams an hour that they were paying. So that's really all it was. It was just like, yeah, have you ever done this before? Do you have your card? Are you willing to work for weed? Everything else was totally legitimate. Everything else was normal. You know, it was a normal interview, normal, you know, clock in, clock out type job.
I don't know if that's I don't know if that's legitimate. I don't know if bartering is considered the way to pay employees. Exactly. I don't know if the government condones that.
I mean, I don't know if it was legitimate or not, you know, but back in Washington at the time, see, like here in Oklahoma, we have a thing, you can't give it. You can't give medication to anybody. It's got to be
right.
Like that's why you see those penny pre-rolls or, you know, things like that. In Washington, there was no restrictions on that. Like you could give away stuff as long as you had a card and it was within the legal, you know, limits that you were allowed to carry. You could give things away. So it was very common practice. You know, if you have a big harvest and you didn't feel like hiring people or you didn't have enough hands, you know, people had friends come and be like, hey, dude, you know, we've got these couple of pounds you need to trim. We'll give you an eighth or a couple of grams, you know, for the day's work and stuff like that. So it was very common. I don't know how legal it was, but I do know that it wasn't illegal to give cannabis away to people as long as they, you know, you had your card, they had their card.
Let me ask you a question. Did you work like on a farm?
I have, yeah.
When you worked on that farm, was it common to see people with armed people?
Yes.
Like with long rifles?
I mean, it's not like they're not walking around like in movies and stuff like that. I'm not sitting in my underwear in the coca fields as, you know, armed men with bandanas are walking around making sure that everything is safe. But yeah, like at certain times you would see, especially guys who were doing, like, not in Washington or Oregon, but I've had family in California, so I've been out there a couple of times and I've worked on some things out there. And yes, like you'll see somebody coming in, you know, changing shifts or something like that, or coming in, you know, from security, and they've got, you know, rifles or some sort of firearm.
Yeah, because I've seen that documentary on I think it was on Netflix that talked about the West Coast.
Murder Mountain.
Yes, and how some places over there can get a little crazy with how they try to mitigate problems. But I didn't know if you were ever exposed to that. So you come back. When do you come back to Oklahoma?
I moved back to Florida in 2015. Lived there, and then I moved to Oklahoma at the end of 2020, like October-ish 2020. So I've been here almost 3 years. And
so then you started your own here. You started getting into the industry here.
Yes, because I worked in the industry in Florida, and then when I moved out, that's the reason I moved out to Oklahoma. When I was at the end of the divorce and in the process of moving, I was looking for a place. I was going to go back to Washington. You know, I was going to go to different places, but I did some research on Oklahoma, and I liked the way the industry, the way that it was headed. It reminds me a lot of how it was done out in Washington and Oregon around 2010, 2011. So it seemed, you know, like a good thing. And I didn't have anything else going on. I didn't have any more ties. So it felt like the best career move for me at the time.
And so now what is it? What do you do in the industry?
Right now, I am a transporter for Stash House Distributions.
Now say that to me like I'm 5 years old.
I'm a delivery driver.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah.
So we're a production and distribution company, and you know, and hi to them if they're listening. I love you guys. You're awesome. But it's very interesting. And there's a couple of companies that do it, but we're the largest. We're here in Oklahoma, opened up in Missouri and New Mexico, and we've got a couple of other states that we're opening up in. And I like the concept of this place because there are a lot of companies that operate in multiple states. You've got different brands like Chiba Chews and 1906, GABA, The Clear, all the Packwoods, all these different brands that are large companies and they operate in multiple states, but it's also very expensive and difficult and time consuming to start up your own thing. So we are a production and distribution company. We partner with the different out-of-state brands, and then everything is done here in-house in Oklahoma. So we process it. We turn the oil into the edibles. We roll the blunts and the pre-rolls. We make the hash, all the different things, the cartridges. We load and pack and package everything here, and then we distribute it to the dispensaries throughout the entire state.
And it says you had a podcast. Tell me about that. Tell me how you started it. How many episodes did you do?
So I started it during the time of the pandemic, so like 1920, because most people had nothing better going.
2020
on a podcast. Yeah, 2020. Yeah.
Because 1920, I don't think the technology was as advanced as it is now.
2019, 2020. Yeah, I can see that's confusing. 2019, 2020, around that time is when I started. And I started doing it. I was doing a lot of, at the time there were a lot of like online cannabis expos and conventions and things like that. A lot of people networking and connecting, and podcasts were starting to be a really big thing. They were getting really popular because of the pandemic. And so I wanted to do one, and I do have a few different mental health issues that I was diagnosed with, either from birth or life experiences and things like that. So I've dealt with the mental health community, and I know the struggles and things like that, especially as a veteran with mental health issues. That adds onto it as well. And I know that cannabis for me has helped immensely, because I kind of been raw dogging it through most of my life with my mental health. And I know that it's played a big part in that. And I also know that it's difficult for a lot of people with issues to talk about them openly, or to talk about other people that ask for help. A lot of misinformation, a lot of things go unsaid, and a lot of people suffer in silence. So it was just something that I wanted to do to educate people, to bring to light options, opportunities, different people's stories, and share my unique experience with the industry. I had a lot of different industry professionals, some doctors, different patients and things like that I had on. I had about 13 episodes total that I had gotten done.
And so tomorrow, big day, voting for recreational marijuana in the state. Give me your reasons why people should vote yes for recreational marijuana.
Yes, just because overall it does benefit the state. It benefits the patients, the customers. There are a lot of positives as far as growth in general for it.
And will you be voting?
Yes, I will.
Felt like a question. Felt like you gave me a question back.
Yes, it's good, but it is very much a double-edged sword. Every state that I worked in, Washington, when they went rec, it ruined a lot of things. It is very negative for the industry as a professional, and working in it. It's not the best thing. It's very difficult to do it correctly. I'm not saying that we shouldn't. I do think, however, we haven't been doing it very long. We're still getting used to the compliance system with metric, and that's a cluster in and of itself. I don't think that right now is necessarily the best time, because they can sneak in a lot of shady stuff in those questions and in the new regulations. So I think that it may be smart to wait a little while, because the nation's rec is coming up. If we do that now beforehand, and it takes all this time to get used to something and to get used to the new laws and regulations, and then it's going to change again anyway, from experience, seeing how other states have done it and how much of a negative impact overall, regardless of the benefits for the state and the patient, things like that, I think maybe we need to wait a little bit.
Okay. But vote yes.
No, He just asked me what my argument was.
Oh, yeah. I just made an assumption. I just made an assumption. You're more than welcome to be like, I don't think people should vote for it.
Yeah, I don't at this time. Like I said, not that we shouldn't altogether, but we haven't, comparatively, we haven't had it as long as a lot of other places. And I think that maybe we should wait a little bit longer because it is going to open up a lot of stuff, both good and bad. And I think that one of the things that Oklahoma has going for it as far as the industry is the fact that they do keep it close to the chest. It's very, very regulated on, where it comes from and how you get your, even though there's, everybody's got a license in some way, shape or form. It's still, I think that it's still very young and we need to maybe kind of refine it a little bit before we open it up that much. It's going to be a big hassle, at least for the professional side of it. Like I said, it's going to be great for the state. I think that, Canada tourism is going to be huge, especially here. I think a lot of out-of-state contracts, because it's already an agricultural state, because there's so much small business and so much space for growth, that it's going to be great. But on a professional side, I think we need to wait a little bit.
Yeah, just for comparison, for those who don't know, Colorado 2000 and then recreational 2012. So it was like a 12-year span before they made it recreational up there. Dude, it's been awesome talking to you. Jack, thanks for taking the time. Take care of your head, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It's been great. You're wonderful.
You're wonderful too, man. See you later. Thanks for talking with us. That's Jack. Our listeners are awesome. We got to take a break, and we'll be back.
Tulsa's morning show continues next.
Yeah, what do you want me to? I will do anything you want me to do.
Yeah, horrible way to get into a conversation with somebody, right? And this is why. Because you want to fix it, you have to come up with ideas. Not me.
Mm-hmm.
You want to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have to tell you how to fix your problem?
Mm-hmm.
Not just this, any scenario, if you have to go to the person and be like, tell me what I have to do to fix this, then you shouldn't be in it. It's a horrible way to get into a conversation with somebody to try and rectify a problem. Because it means you don't know. You haven't even entertained ideas.
Right.
How about a candlelight dinner?
That's
not enough.
Good and gravy and all, but the distractions there, man. You're not going to be able to enjoy your candlelight dinner, You're not going to be able to do much of anything fun, a vacation or anything like that because, there's a giant elephant in the room.
Again, we're just trying to convince for a second chance. What about a spa day?
Sure. I'll go ahead and let you spend your money on me so I can go and feel better.
Yeah, is he going to send her on a spa day? I think he needs to go to her and definitely, like, he needs to know from her what she expects from him.
I don't think
what he wants her to
Come
do.
on, Lindsay. Come on, Lindsay.
Come
on, Lindsay.
What?
What he expects of her?
What
don't have
she
sex with
wants him
other
to do.
people.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what the expectation is.
Absolutely. But he's done it. He's done the damage.
Yeah, so we're
He's
talking about a
done the
second
damage.
chance.
Exactly.
So what do we're just talking about crazy ideas.
Yep.
Commit to an idea, Lindsay.
Yeah. So going on vacation, sure, it's nice, but now he gets to go on a vacation too. Like, it's almost like, I don't know if I want to go on a vacation with you right now.
Hall pass. You want a crazy idea? Give her a hall pass.
Give
her an opportunity to even Stevens this thing.
Okay. And she doesn't have to tell him about it. Ever.
Well, no, she knows about his, so I feel like it has to be even.
Fair, yeah.
If it's even, it's even. Why do you not get to tell anybody?
Maybe she doesn't even take him up on it. He'll never know. You know what I mean? Let him wonder. Did she or didn't she?
Yeah. Usually works.
It usually does.
Yeah.
Withholding information.
Yeah. People have already texted him what my feelings are on this. To me, it's quite clear. But they are asking.
Yeah.
Right? They are going, what's some scenario? What's a scenario? What is a possibility? Brandon is on. Hey, Brandon, how are you?
Good. How are y'all?
Good. What do you think?
From a person who's been cheated on multiple times, I say the damage has already been done. But if he wants to win her over, they've been married 10 years. Renew your vows. Make new vows. Tell her you're committed to her and only her. Just go and renew your vows. That might win her over. You never know.
Right, a mulligan.
Right.
Yeah, pull a mulligan.
Yeah.
Pull that mulligan card. Pull it all day long.
You said that you've been cheated on multiple times, Brandon. Would that have worked with you?
No, because I stayed with someone who cheated on me 9 times.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Are you
But
blind? Are you blind?
Well, I lived 7.5 hours away from my family at the time, so I was kind of forced just to stick around because I was in a state I didn't know. I wasn't from that state, so I stuck around and rode out the roller coaster.
What was her excuse on the 7th time?
His excuse was I was away from the house for 2 weeks on walk, and he got lonely.
So this is your boyfriend?
Yeah, it was my ex.
Yeah.
But when he said that, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I took the call around midnight when he was drunk, took the call, and I left and never looked back.
7th time.
Yeah. And then
you
took
came
the call
back.
Took the call back because I was like, oh, maybe you changed. And the 9th time was finally the draw.
For him I'm just being really honest. Him cheating 9 times, do you blame him or yourself?
I blame myself for being blinded by love.
But it wasn't. No, it wasn't, though.
No, it was not my fault. But I mean, I kept going back.
No, it's your fault. It wasn't love.
It was my own stupidity trying to think I can change someone.
Right. Hope. Well, it was hope. You were hoping. You were hoping he'd love you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Brandon, have a great day, man.
You too.
All right, see you later.
These texts are
Scott is on. Hey, Scott, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, buddy. What do you think?
You know, let's be real. I love some of the comments, and you guys especially, but let's be real. You're not going to be able to give her a hall pass because we as men are never going to forget that. We're never going to stop dwelling on it. And, you know, we're going to be the demise of that at that point. I think there's only one way to really do it. Either walk away because you can't tell me guilt took over after. You were enjoying it then. You went out for that purpose to go meet somebody. So either open this up to an open relationship, ask her, hey, do you want an open relationship, or walk away now, brother, because you lost it.
Let me ask you, Scott, what would be an argument they would have had that would have not justified him cheating, but going out and being completely reckless? Like what's something?
Well, she would have had to cheat. I mean, the only way I'm ever going to cheat is she walks to me and says she just cheated. I'm walking out. I'm going to get me some, and I'm done with this relationship.
But then, I mean, you're not really cheating at that point, are you, Scott? You're not.
Well, you know, until that divorce, I get it. But there's no hall pass or dinner or vacation. I agree with her vacation. That means she's not going to forget that. I don't care if 5 years down the road, that's going to be in every argument you have.
Mm-hmm.
So you might as well either walk away or open this thing up and let's become swingers.
Just walk up to her with a pineapple in hand.
Right on, man.
Upside down it, baby.
All right, Scott, have a great day, friend.
You too, guys.
All right, see you later.
Got a great idea to fix the situation.
I hear that, like, if she cheats, I'm going out right and cheating, and cheating right away. It's going to be like the movie Hall Pass. I'm going to Applebee's and having wings and going to bed at 9. Like,
yeah,
right, because that's our routine now.
No,
that's where we're at.
No, I don't have the game. Like, what are you talking about? It's not like I'm turning down women every time I go out the door.
You go to the bar, you wait till about, 1:45-ish.
Oh.
You find the biggest woman with the least amount of teeth in her face, and you say, you're coming with me.
I got to be honest. If I'm cheating as revenge, it ain't just going to be on crumbs. Listener email, I'm about to get divorced from my wife of 10 years
Homeless
because
people eat out of garbage cans,
I
Corbin.
made a stupid mistake and had a one-night stand. We got in an argument. I left, went to the bar, and slept with some woman. Almost immediately, the guilt took over me. She's told me it's over. But I have to try. What can I do to get her or to give our marriage a second chance? Lindsay.
Okay, so he already did the most awful thing he could have done, and that was cheat. But he was honest. So he's got that going for him at least. And if he wants to...
Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show, 918-460-KMOD. You can also text BMMS and then what you want to say to 82945. Jeff Hensley will be on at 9. Get your questions to us ahead of time. If you'd like, a couple ways. Email address is show@kmod.com, or you can text it, BMMS, and whatever that question is to 82945, or call when he's in at 9. Pete Davidson returned from Hawaii with his girlfriend and then proceeded to get in a wreck and hit a house.
Oh, no.
And so I'm bringing this up because it is kind of bizarre. The house was got to be a good 200 feet from the road.
Right.
It wasn't close.
Right. Not like it was on the curb.
And at the time, they don't believe drugs or alcohol was in play, but they're still conducting their investigation. He wasn't arrested or anything like that.
Mm.
So I would imagine, I've never hit a house, so I don't know what transpires, but I would imagine they kind of do a check to see if you have your wits about you.
Mhm,
Right.
Yeah.
If his eyes were dilated or some indicator that police are trained on to recognize when someone is altered,
Mm-hmm.
I imagine they would have done something. I would imagine.
You hope.
Right.
Unless they look in a car like, oh, holy crap, Pete Davidson. You know, it's one of those. You go on, Pete. We'll take care of this.
Yeah. You're the king man of Staten Island.
Right.
But so I was trying to think of what would be a reason to hit a house. I'm sorry. He hit a fire hydrant and then proceeded to travel 150, 200 feet
Mhm.
and hit a house.
Mhm.
You said his girlfriend was in the car with him?
Uh-huh.
Oh, then she was pleasing him sexually in the car.
That's what I was thinking.
That's possible.
But they had just gotten back from Hawaii. Like they had earlier that morning, there were pictures of them taken in Hawaii. And I'm only bringing that up because that's a 6-hour, 8-hour event to get from Hawaii back
Right.
to America, to mainland.
Everybody handles jet lag differently. Some people need a nap. Some people need a lap nap.
Exactly.
And how far? I want to know, why were they in that neighborhood?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Do they live in that neighborhood?
Mm-hmm.
Was he dropping her off?
Right. Or are they just driving around wasting time while, she handled business?
And do you live with your mom?
Right.
Just go home. You were just in a hotel for whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It makes no. Was he flying private?
Right.
The amount of times where privacy happens, some people do sex in a car in some capacity, right? Because it's the only place they have for privacy.
Right.
Yeah,
I saw a video of a nurse crying in her car at work because it's the only place she can go and get privacy. Right. So some people resort to their car for privacy, whether it be crying or sex or phone call or whatever. So, but when you are of that stature, you can get privacy pretty. You wouldn't need that.
You'd think. You got money for any hotel room. You don't have to go to a Motel 6 or whatever.
And he's married. He's dating a famous person as well. So they both have money.
Yes.
Yeah, if they left why not get it done in the hotel room before you leave?
Because that's just not as
thrilling.
Sexy.
Yeah, thrilling.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think Pete Davidson's net worth is?
I was just about to look
It's a
myself.
good one.
You hadn't looked yet?
I haven't looked yet. I was going to look up both of them because I never heard of his girlfriend, but apparently, she's done some films before.
Yeah, I think she was in Squid Game. I think is she the girl from Squid Games, I think? She's in some recent show that was pretty popular.
I'll go with 160 million.
Wow. Based off of?
SNL.
Okay.
And Inheritance from his dead dad.
Wow.
Who knows?
Okay. His dad, for those who don't know, fireman, died in New York. Yeah. All right. Gimpy.
I'm going to say 50 mil, and I think that's shooting high. Just because, he's known for Saturday Night Live. He had that movie.
Exactly.
That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. 8 million.
Oh.
SNL does not pay well.
I guess not.
He's had a couple comedy specials. He's been in some movies.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He ain't rolling.
Yeah, he's done some roasts. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think those pay. Not like what you think.
Yeah, he's got nothing.
No. And he's 30. He's 29. So he's going to be 30, right?
Yeah.
So you're 30 and you're having sex in a car. What's happening?
mean, he's 30.
He's 30.
Yeah,
dumb.
He's 30. He ain't got no
He's
kids. He
not
got nothing to
mature.
worry about. You know, he just, I'm going to live my life to the fullest.
Sure.
And do we know for sure that he was driving?
That's what it said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way to know for sure any of it happened.
Yeah. Maybe she was driving and he is covering for her.
Okay.
Now, the house, they didn't do that much damage to, like, it appears as they were trying to slow down or whatever, but still, that much distance.
Mm-hmm. He was hauling ass through the neighborhood.
He had to have been.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, the only way is you get in an accident and hit a house 200 feet from the road and through a fire hydrant is you are distracted in some capacity, whether that's sex or eating a cheeseburger, like fell on the floor, or you turned a corner and all your CDs fell out of the holder.
Oh, God, I hear that.
Or you're medicated in some capacity.
Right. Yeah, they didn't do much damage to the house at all whatsoever. I was expecting, like, I had a friend in high school who fell asleep behind the wheel, hopped a curb, and ran into a house. Like, the whole front end of his car was in the house.
Yeah.
That's what I was expecting from Pete Davidson's accident here. They just kind of ruined the sighting.
Well, cosmetically, there's not very much damage, but the corner of the house, strongest part of the house, right? Engineering wise, that's where a lot of the power is. Everything's manifested to that corner or whatever. So is there structural damage? It ain't, you don't just go, it's not like someone bumped your bumper, right? You're like, it's fine.
Right.
Little ding.
Oh, and Tara, I think that's scary to have somebody hit your house.
Oh, yeah.
It had to have sounded like a car hit the house. I was trying to think of another sound. Like, what would be the right descriptor you would give?
I think that about nails it, man.
Yeah.
It sounded like a car hitting a house.
Yeah. There's times I'll hit something like the kids will be outside and they'll throw a ball against the wall or something. And I'm like, what hit the house? They're like, it's the ball, Dad. Huh. Okay.
Not a car.
Yes. Crazy loud, though. Yeah, I saw that's immediately what I thought of. I was like, some little afternoon delight in the car. I get home after the airport, I'm like, ugh.
Right.
I don't even get that airport funk off me.
Yeah. You want to shower?
Yeah, all that recycled air that's been blowing on me for 6 hours. I don't want something else.
Other people's farts you've been breathing in.
Oh, yes. Yeah. All right, we got to take a break and we'll be back.
Tulsa's morning show is
especially if you've got small children.
And you're having a dinner party.
Right. You can expect toys to be all over the place. Now, there's a difference between, a little clutter, kids don't know how to pick up their toys, and your house looks like Ross, dressed for less. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, I would think if you're hosting a dinner party, you would want to clean up.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think.
But that's not necessarily true, especially if you're like, hey, come over tonight, we're having pizza. Pizza feels like there's no cleaning happening.
Yeah, it's okay to have your laundry still piled up on the back of the couch from like 4 days.
You should at least pick it up and throw it on your bed.
Yeah.
Right? Give me a place to sit.
Right. Just move the panties over. It'll be fine.
It's always like, I've gone and I stopped getting in the car with this person when I went to get in their car and they're like, hold on. And they had to like unload a bunch of stuff from the seat and the floorboard into the back seat so I could sit down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you invited me to get in your car.
You should have had that fixed up beforehand.
Or just don't invite me into your car.
I'm with you.
Right? If you don't have a place for me to sit, what are you doing inviting me over?
I just like the company.
I'm not a charity. Yeah. So that would be, I'm judging food. What do you judge? What's your judge when you go to someone's house? If it's
Cleanliness.
Cleanliness?
Probably, yeah. Especially if you're having a dinner party.
Yeah, I might do that too.
Uh-huh.
Gimpy?
Definitely cleanliness. And it doesn't have to be sparkling like you walk in and everything's ting, 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 No. But if you're inviting people over, dinner party, or just to hang out and have a smoke sesh, you might want to just kind of pick up the bulk of
smoke
things
sesh.
first.
You're so bougie. Like,
Yeah.
You're going over get high and you're like, man, the house was so dirty.
Yeah.
So dirty.
Well, yeah. If you gotta, you can't put your soda down or your water down on the table because it's littered with empty cans. then,
Right.
yeah, that's what I'm
Right.
talking about, man.
Yeah.
Go get a damn trash bag.
But
Clear off tables and we'll be fine.
Yes.
I'm not saying you have to run the vacuum.
Right.
All right. Just don't make people come in and be like, oh God. Oh God. And furthermore, Susan, if it smells a little bit, just spray something. Just spray something in the air. You don't want to walk into somebody's house and get hit with a brick wall of stank. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to be careful too. Don't go crazy. Right? If you're unloading half a can of Lysol,
right. You're
obviously covering up a smell.
Yeah.
Right?
Which will refill itself in a
In
little
due
bit.
time.
Yes.
It's not permanent.
It smells like wildflowers and ass.
Yeah. Is it Febreze?
Mm-hmm.
And mold.
Febreze is literally advertised to cover up stink.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which means you have a problem if there's stink in the house. What about a toilet bowl that's got a pink ring in it?
I'm not judging that.
Gross.
It's pink mold.
Yeah.
It's mold.
Gross.
Yeah.
In the toilet bowl.
Yeah. That's okay.
Ugh.
Now, I mean, there's a difference between is there sitting urine or like, Mr. Hanky, is he taking
Skid
a
marks.
swim right there?
There's some rubbing is racing.
Right. Like,
Gross.
previous person was a freckler. I get what you're talking about. Yeah. Dude, that happens, bro. That happens in everybody's house. I'm hoping that you would, at least go in there and take that little brush and whirl around a little bit.
But you didn't.
You didn't, exactly. But I mean, it is what it is. Everybody poops. Everybody has that, whatever you may need a knife for. It's okay.
Bidet, dude. Bidet. Bidet.
Right. I get it. That cleans the skid marks off of your end, but I mean, this is down on the porcelain. I don't think it works like that.
Eat some fiber. What's the strangest type of bird that you'd be willing to eat, such as a shoebill stork? You know what a shoebill stork is, Lindsay?
No.
Look up shoebill stork. Shoebill stork. It will if I remember correctly, this is a very bizarre looking bird. It almost looks human-like.
Giant honking schnoz.
It is terrifying.
Yeah.
It will haunt you in your nightmares. If I remember right, it makes a horrendous sound. A very loud noise. It's not like a beautiful chirping or anything. It's a very loud noise.
Mm-hmm.
The shoebill stork. You see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is your pick?
Probably a. What's the one? What are the We call him. My husband calls it a Harry Truman, and that's not what its real name. We see
Dropping bombs?
Huh?
Is it just dropping bombs everywhere it
No,
flies?
it's the. Now I can't even think of the real name of it. You see them all a blue herring. Is that what it is?
Blue herring.
What? Isn't that a fish?
See them all the time on the.
So it's the ones you see in the ponds, and they got the long legs and stuff like that. Yeah.
The heron. Yes.
Great blue heron.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity.
Gimpy?
Can I say big?
Huh?
Big
bird.
Big bird. Okay.
Oh.
If we're going like a legit bird, I'm going to go with the flamingo.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
Yeah.
Yeah. See if it tastes like shrimp.
Yeah. Flamingo or roadrunner.
true.
One of the two.
Yeah. Why not? That sounds fine. Penguin. I'm down for some penguin.
Ooh, yeah. Some fricasseed penguin.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it getting. I mean, it's cold. It's right there on the ice.
Right.
Who doesn't? Some good penguin. Yum. I'm going to name some dishes. You give me a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being awesome.
Okay.
And 0 being pass.
Okay.
Okay. Lindsay, you're in on this too.
Okay.
Let's start basic, right?
Yeah.
Spaghetti. Lindsay?
Oh, 10.
Okay. Gimpy.
3.
Okay. Fettuccine Alfredo. You can
10.
You can say 10.
Could I say 11?
Gimpy?
Oh.
What kind? Is it seafood or is it chicken?
This is just the cheese. This is
Just
no
the
chicken. No.
sauce
Yeah.
and noodles?
Yeah.
0.
Okay. Manicotti. So manicotti, for those who don't know, it's a ricotta. Mostly the time it's a ricotta-based filled noodle.
Big ol' honking noodle, too.
It's a 6 for me.
Okay.
That's a 0 for me, dog.
Okay. Stuffed shells.
6.
Okay. Gimpy.
2.
Wow.
If that. I'm struggling for a 2, bro.
Okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Lasagna.
3.
Wow. Gimpy.
Who's making it?
Whoever your favorites is.
It's even my mom's lasagna. That would like rank like a 2 or 3 for me. And that's because it's mom's. So lasagna just in general.
Yeah.
That's a 1.
Chicken parmesan. Chicken parmigiana.
9.
Never had it.
What?
Crazy.
It feels crazy.
Yeah. So that's going to be a 0 for me, dog.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Chicken. Oh my gosh.
Is it the eggplant and the
no,
that one's good too.
That's different.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Chicken piccata. Chicken piccata is the lemon chicken. I know. It's lemon.
Yeah, 7.
That's 0.
Oh my God.
Like we went to that fancy Italian place for the boss that what was it last week, his lunch or whatever. And I'm looking at the menu, I was like,
Mondo's, great Italian restaurant.
Mondo's, I respect them and what they do. It's just Italian is not for me. I'm like, I don't know what to get. Everything on the menu had either mushrooms or lemon on it. And I was just like, what's this stuff with the shrimp? Sounds good. I'll eat the shrimp over the noodles, which is exactly what I did.
I mean, I wanted to see. All right, so let's just go with a couple things here because I'm trying to find fried mozzarella.
I mean, that's just deep
10.
fried cheese. But even then, I want to give it like a 4.
Calamari.
10.
Calamari. I'll go ahead and give that like maybe a 6 or something because I've had calamari at other places that's not Italian food.
Bruschetta or bruschetta.
10.
Was that the fancy bread?
It's toast. Most of the time, it's toasted little pieces of bread with tomatoes and olive oil and balsamic and basil. And stuff.
The extremely stale bread that you chip a tooth on every time you eat it. That's a 0.
Let's see. Let's get it. Spaghetti. It's the Big Man Morning Show. You know, the other thing we didn't mention with the Pete Davidson thing is that there will be like a doorbell cam or something that'll come out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I just got an alert, new wild video, and it shows the house up against the car up against the house, and then a fire hydrant, doing what it does in movies.
Right.
So I thought I thought there were valves on that when that happens to like keep it from doing that.
I don't know. The one that I hit, luckily, was shut off, and it didn't spew water everywhere. It just planked about 50 feet ahead of me.
How old? People are going, what? You hit a fire hydrant, so maybe.
Yeah, I was in my 20s. Much like Pete Davidson here, had a gal in the car, and she wasn't servicing me or anything, but she was handsy. And, I'm going through this intersection and I see this car coming through as well. Pine and Minga right there at that Quick Trip. And something in the back of my head's like, watch out for this car. It's going to hit you. And I'm like, whatever. So I'm going straight and she is going to be turning left on a green dot, not an arrow. So she has to yield. So as I'm going through, this bitch kept on going, clipped the back into my car, right? And then I overcorrected, hit the gas instead of the brake, hopped the curb, hit the fire hydrant, blink, and then went flying off.
Oof.
Yeah.
Did it total your vehicle?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There was no fixing that sumbitch.
Let's see what Lindsay has for Balls to the Wall Sports.
A White Sox pitcher is escaping discipline from Major League Baseball relating to a domestic violence complaint. Mike Clevenger will avoid any fine or suspension from the league after it concluded its findings on Sunday. MLB released a statement outlining the investigation, which included interviews of more than 15 individuals, along with a review of thousands of electronic communication records. The pitcher was accused of domestic abuse by the mother of one of his children back in January. The complaint alleged Clevenger injured the woman after he threw an iPad at her while pregnant and strangled her. Clevenger agreed to treatment and domestic violence board recommendations going forward.
Yikes.
Yeah. And that's your Balls to the Wall Sports. I'm Lindsay on 97.5 KMOD.
Balls to the Wall Sports is powered by Miller Lite, the original light beer. Great taste. I've said it before, and you all thought I was crazy.
1 to 10.
1 to 10, a pizza, that's going to be a 3 for me. So low on the scale, man.
Lindsay.
10.
Yeah.
Always.
Pretty much all those except peppers and onions that we've mentioned are about anywhere between an 8 and a 10 for me.
Really?
See, I love peppers and onions. I don't love the heartburn, but man, it's almost worth the heartburn for me.
A good bolognese pasta.
Well, Italian food. They are the Beatles for me.
A nice short rib braised ragu.
Ragu, the sauce in a jar.
So it's just no. So good. I'm telling you, man, Italian food.
I like Young Sheldon way more than The Big Bang Theory.
If you ever say that again, I'm going to call the HR department.
Why? Big Bang Theory is a giant turd.
That's the most offensive thing I think I've ever heard you say.
Young Sheldon it's not the greatest, but it's better than Big Bang Theory.
I am so disappointed in you right now. You've done some things that are pretty crazy, and this might be the most disappointing thing I've ever heard you say.
He was the executive producer of Cowboys and Aliens.
I feel like you and I run in succession on a lot of things, but this Young Sheldon thing has got me twisted.
Have you ever watched an episode?
I've watched enough to go, no.
If I gun to my head, you got to choose one. Young Sheldon or Big Bang Theory. I'm going to choose Young Sheldon, man.
No, I'm still a no. I'll pick Big Bang.
Just shoot. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because of the girl. She's so hot.
Yeah, but
Kaylee Cuoco.
But everything else about that show negates her hotness.
I can turn it down.
It doesn't matter. You still got all those other dorks.
Matter.
David from Roseanne and, the old Sheldon. And I'm just like, yeah.
Her and David are the best characters on that show.
I'll give you that. But for the most part, the show is.
By the way, there's some people right now just so twisted up. I didn't pick the Bazing guy or whatever.
Whatever.
I don't even know his name.
I never watched either one of those.
I find that shocking.
Yeah. I pick Roseanne over either one of those.
I figured you would be in that market there.
Yeah. I think you're off a couple decades with Roseanne.
No, or the Connors. I'll watch the Connors over.
Again, I think the Connors came way late, like almost at the very end.
Of the Big Bang?
Of Big Bang, yeah.
Okay.
And the other one that she was on with John Ritter.
Parents?
No.
Rules dating my teenage daughter, something
yes.
like that. 16 rules to dating my teenage daughter or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Had Peggy Bundy in it as well.
Yeah, I don't know that show either.
Yeah, that one was good. Because she played the blonde daughter that you like from Big Bang. She played his daughter on that.
8 Simple Rules was the name
that
of
was
it.
it.
Check it. That was 16. A good series. That was a good
36
series.
rules.
How many rules you need to date your teenage daughter is, arbitrary. This guy needed 8. I need like 32.
8. What were the rules of the show for dating the daughter?
I don't think they ever said.
I don't either.
Oh, come on.
I don't think they ever said.
Come on.
No, I don't think they ever did.
There had to have been. There had to have been rules, right?
Surely. All right. Here we go. All right.
You found it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it had to have been widely known.
There's a wiki here, so give me just a minute because it says something like bring her home before midnight or something like that.
To me, if you name a show that, it's gotta. There better be at some point you play that out, right? Smallville, the TV show Smallville took place in Smallville, right?
Sure.
Roseanne, it was about Roseanne, right? They had to rename it the Connors because Roseanne wasn't on it anymore.
That's right.
Like, you can get in here, you racist bitch. All right, so here's the rules. 8 simple rules for dating my teenage daughter.
From the show.
Okay. Use your hands on my daughter and you'll lose them after. That's rule number 1.
John Ritter is hardly that guy.
Right?
Really?
He might be the nicest character ever on any show, ever.
But that's what they want us to believe.
I think only one time he played a character that was really bad, evil.
Okay.
He mostly was the good golly gee guy.
Wow, even on Problem Child, he was that good dad.
Yeah. He was like, he could have been on SNL. Like he was a what do they call it when a comedian, they like hurt themselves and stuff like that? He's that type of comedian.
Oh, okay. Like Chris Farley was,
Chris
where
Farley,
he'd fall over on tables and it wouldn't bother him any at all.
Yeah.
But that's what they want you to believe. Maybe deep down inside, he's really just a mean
Sure,
asshole.
who he is off screen is but we're talking about the character.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. The character is like, oh, we're such a nice guy or whatever, 99% of the time, but you get that 1% that's never shown.
But
you know,
it's kind of like when Kevin Hart threatens you, you go, come on, man.
Yeah.
You don't know he's this badass muscle guy.
Right.
Right?
All right. So number 2, you make her cry, I make you cry.
Again, not on brand with John Ritter.
Number 3, safe sex is a myth. Anything you try will be hazardous to your health.
That's just bad parenting. That's just, I mean, they're going to have sex, right? So now you're turning them away from practicing safe sex.
Right now they're going to do it just to spite you, Dad.
Well, it's not safe.
He's going to raw dog it just to spite your dad.
God, that word is so awesome. I hate it and love it at the same time.
All right. So number 4, you're looking at bring her home late. There's no next date. Notice how everything rhymes with these rules.
That's on John Ritter brand.
Yeah. Number 5, if you pull into my driveway and honk, you better be dropping off a package because you're sure not picking up anything else.
Who delivers stuff to your house? Who delivers stuff in honks?
I don't know.
No one.
Usually they knock on the door,
no one.
ring a doorbell.
For us, DoorDash,
Right.
Domino's in the time like that. No, that's not a thing.
It says alternative rule number 5, only delivery men honk, dates ring the doorbell once. That was his alternative to the number 5.
Okay.
Honking.
Oh, okay.
All right. So number 6, no complaining while you're waiting for her. If you're bored, change my oil. Change, not check.
I don't know. If you know who John Ritter was, he might mean.
He did play a little Fruity Fruit on Three's Company. At least to Mr. Furley, Mr. Roper. He was
right,
he was.
exactly.
Yeah. Number 7, if your pants hang off your hips, I'll gladly secure them with my staple gun.
Yes.
Dick.
Assault.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, not on brand for John Ritter.
Not at all.
And lastly here, number 8 for 8 simple rules of dating my teenage daughter. Dates must be in crowded public places. You want romance, read a book.
I like it.
Again, that might be the most on brand of all of them.
Yeah.
For John Ritter.
Yeah.
I had to look up whether or not John Ritter ever played a bad guy. And the only one I found was his role in the film Bad Santa. Bob Chapesca.
With Billy Bob Thornton?
Yes.
Was he still alive at that time? I mean,
In
apparently the internet says so, but
2003.
okay.
He was out to expose him for the hard drinking, offensive brute that Billy Bob Thornton's role was.
Sure enough.
Yeah.
Sure enough. And John Ritter died in 2003.
Mhm.
Wow. So shortly after he did that, I guess.
Yeah.
How about that?
I feel like I saw him in a, because he was in Sling Blade, if I remember correctly, too. Like he was the friend, he was the father of the boy. Was he evil in that?
I don't think so. Maybe.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But Problem Child, we know him as.
Yeah.
I feel like there was he played Roy Slade. Is that right?
In
No.
Sling Blade? No.
No. Oh, he was the priest.
Mm.
That feels on brand for John Ritter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who had John Ritter on there? What they'll talk about today? Bingo card.
Yeah, not me.
Nobody.
Small town police station rocked by wild sex scandal. This is in Tennessee, where a small town police station was rocked by allegations of wild sexual misconduct after a married female officer allegedly had steamy romps with 6 male officers, including illicit on-duty liaisons, according to reports. Officer Megan Hall and her fellow law officers allegedly engaged in wild sexcapades that included sending dirty pictures, taking her top off at a Girls Gone Wild hot tub party.
What does that mean? They were filming it?
I guess so.
Give him a free hat.
Yeah.
Right. What is a Girls Gone Wild hot tub party?
I don't know, but I'm interested.
Sure.
Yeah.
Some with young kids, huh? Were there young kids there? Underage?
I don't know.
Don't know,
It
Leslie.
never
'Cause that's
said
what
that.
Girls Gone Wild was most of the time.
That is true. That is true. And even having oral with 2 officers at the Laverne, Tennessee police station.
At the same time?
At the same time.
Get it, girl.
The steamy shenanigans in which Hall allegedly bragged about the size of one.
Jokes on there as well. So make sure you visit there and get your tickets. Thank you, Gimpy. And it's Monday. That means Jeff from Hensley and Associates are joining us. Good morning, Jeff.
Morning. It's my turn. Yay.
Yeah. I'm gonna expect a little bit more from you, though.
That's
all right.
fine.
So if you
Bring
have,
it
you have a question for Jeff about family law, divorce, custody, guardianship, any of those things, Jeff is in the studio to answer them. A couple ways to get your question to us. Call at 918-460-KMOD so we can hear your beautiful voice, or you can text BMMS and whatever that is to 82945. You can even email to show@kmod.com and we'll read it on the air. There's a couple that have came in. This says, can you get a case transferred from Osage County to Tulsa County if both parties reside in Tulsa County? There's a second part, but I'll let you.
Yeah, usually. I mean, if the parties no longer reside in that county and both parties are agreeable to moving it, then yeah, usually there's no issue with that. Sure.
It says also, if a person has had a temporary custody since the child was 2 weeks old, the mother signed in front of a notary, and now the child is 9. Last year, the parent was like, "Oh, I want my kid back." Now the mom has taken the classes to get to know their child and has every other weekend visits. The child does not want to live with her. They both have attorneys, but she feels like her attorney is just going with the flow. There have been no standards set by the judge, no drug test. She drives around with no license with the child, has a live-in boyfriend. What can she do? Can we start at just the beginning part with the temporary custody with the notary?
Yeah. So remember, notary means all a note. Again, I'm a certified notary and have been for, I think 10 or 12 years now. All a notary is somebody that is licensed by the state to say, yes, this is the actual person that came and stood in front of me and signed the document. It doesn't make the document legal per se. It doesn't make it enforceable. It's just, that's all it does. The only enforceable orders out there are orders signed by judges. Okay, if it's got a judge's signature on it, an actual living, breathing judge from the state of Oklahoma or any other state, then that's an enforceable order, wherever state you live in. So, yeah, that's the difference between the two. Please don't get that confused, because everybody thinks, and we go through this all the time, but I'm glad we bring it up all the time because it kind of begs to be mentioned. Everyone just thinks, oh, if it's notarized, so it's now legal and enforceable. And no, it's not. It's, I think from a what's the word we're looking for? From a certain aspect, I think people do that with the idea, and I think they end up following their agreements sometimes with that, thinking that it's all legal, which is great and dandy and fine and all that. But at the same time, too, it's not just understand it's not an enforceable order that I can go and file something at the courthouse on. Only thing that you can file those kind of things on are orders that are signed by an actual judge in the state of Oklahoma.
So going off that first one, if they have this temporary custody that was signed in front of them, they don't have a custody.
No,
and so
they
if
do
the
not.
mother, like if they made some kitchen table agreement to try and handle their family affairs privately without the court, and the mom suddenly pops back up and wants their kid, they would have to give it back.
Well, and technically, and so if this is a situation where the parties are not married, so it sounds like they're not, so we're going to assume that they're, and yes, I know what assumption is, but we're going to assume for this scenario that they're not married. If that were the case, then mom technically can come back and take the kid. Now, what dad would want to do if dad's had the kid for 9 years and kid hasn't seen mom much during those 9 years, if I'm understanding the situation correctly, then obviously dad would file paternity case immediately, file for emergency custody because he's the one that's had the kid for 9 years and mom's been off wherever doing what and doesn't even know the kid. So, there's ways to handle that and protect the child and make it done correctly.
So even though the custody agreement they had, the kitchen table custody agreement they had, isn't legally binding, there still is a precedent that they've been the caretaker for 9 years and the mom hasn't been around. So there are some resources for that person that's been the parent
for
to
this
still
particular scenario.
in this. Yeah,
yes,
excellent.
Correct.
Yeah, so there's some resources at your disposal. It's not just a whoops, what are you going to do?
Right.
If you've got a question for Jeff, he can answer it. The email address is show@kmod.com. You can also call at 918-460-KMOD. Carl is on. Hey, Carl, how are you?
Doing well today. How are you?
Good. Carl, what's your question for Jeff Hensley of Hensley & Associates?
Well, my current wife, when she went through her previous divorce, did not appear in court due to some traffic tickets, and she's scared to go to jail. And so her now ex-husband pretty much raked her over the coals and gave her 1 day a month for 1 hour with supervised visitation of her 2 children.
What? Okay, so
Yeah.
start over. So start over again. She has a speeding ticket out there, and she's afraid of going to jail on a speeding ticket.
$900 worth.
What's she? It's got to be more than a speeding ticket, friend.
Well, I looked her up in Grady County, and they're all just traffic tickets, and she's had them for 6 or 7 years.
Okay, so it's a multitude of tickets. Okay, yeah. Are there bench warrants? Are there warrants out for her arrest?
Yes, sir.
Okay, those can be very easily dealt with.
More than death. She fears incarceration more than death, so she did not appear for the divorce court hearing. And they gave her now ex-husband whatever he wanted, and he chose 1 day a month for 1 hour, supervised, and they sat at the table with them.
Oh, man, that's terrible. How long ago was this order entered by the court?
About 4 years ago.
Oh, dude. So that's all she's had for 4 years?
Yes, sir. And she's had nobody to champion in a corner for her now except me. And I don't know about the law, but I know enough that that's kind of baloney.
That's a legal term.
She had, that is a, so.
Yeah, does
she have a leg to stand on?
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's hard to go back and fix some things after 4 years right away, but we can get some change. So if you'll give your name or number to Gimpy, I will give you a holler either, probably not today because I've got court all afternoon, but tomorrow, and we'll go through on how to fix that. I mean, the basic gist of it is she's got to get rid of the warrants first. That's easy. Okay. She doesn't have to go to jail for it. We can walk her through that. That's not a problem. What was she doing down in Grady County? Is that where she's from or what? Because that's on the other side of the state. That's Southwest Oklahoma.
Yes, sir. That's where I met her, and that's where she lives.
Okay. Chickasha? Or
unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. I'm from Comanche County originally, so that's why I know that.
I can't say on the radio.
Thank you.
It has something to do with chicken.
Thank you, Carl. Thank you for.
All right. Give me your name and number to Gimpy, and I'll give you a holler, and we'll get it figured out, bud.
All right. Thank you so very much.
I mean, there's a classic example of each case is uniquely different, and they can be extremely complicated.
They can be, and it's unfortunate. And I understand she fears incarceration. I get that because jail smell, and not everybody looks good in orange. But at the same time, too, you got your kid. You know? And so we can fix this. It's just going to take a little bit to get there. Can be done.
Jeff Hensley's joining us from Hensley and Associates. Diana has a question. Diana, go ahead. You're on with Jeff Hensley of Hensley and Associates.
Hi, good morning.
Howdy.
So my question is, my parental rights were dissolved in the state of Kansas.
Okay.
My oldest son is now 17. He reached out to me through Facebook, and he told me that my middle son is in foster care. Is there any way that I could go and try to get custody of my middle son now?
No. Usually once your rights have been terminated, the chances of going back and getting custody are next to zero. I mean, it would have to be an earth-shattering, really strange situation for that to occur. I mean, once your rights have been taken or given up, you can't go back and get custody again. Now, there have been rare cases where you might be able to do a guardianship, but those are super, super rare and in super strange cases. So, I wouldn't put my eggs in one basket on that idea. Is there anybody else that can go and get custody though? And anybody else that can do a guardianship in the family?
My sister-in-law, yeah.
I'm sorry?
My sister-in-law is willing.
Okay. Does your sister-in-law have any criminal background or any DHS investigations or anything like that?
Nope, none of that.
Okay. And what county is this all taking place in?
Well, my boys live in Colorado. She lives in Florida. And so I was just wondering what the steps were that I need to do to try to see what we do about dominance.
So you won't qualify, but at least under Oklahoma law, you said they're in Colorado. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to hire a Colorado attorney to represent your sister-in-law or whoever it was that can go and get that done. So I would give a attorney in the county where they live in Colorado, and they can get you taken care of.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Good luck. Again, another example. It can be quite complicated.
Yeah.
But if you were in the same county and you aren't eligible for a guardianship or adoption, the best bet would be to find a family member close to you that could do it.
Well, that's typically what we do with guardianships. I mean, it's kind of the same idea with foster care, right? So at least what we call kinship placements. They look for family members that are close that can be able to take these kids in. Same thing with the guardianship. I mean, if you can't qualify because you have your background, then we start looking, are there cousins, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, something like that, so the kids can stay in the family and still get out of the dangerous situation and all those things. So absolutely.
There's some text coming in. If you've got a question for Jeff, you can get it to us a couple of ways. Email show@kmod.com. Text it like the ones I'm about to read, BMMS and whatever that is, to 82945. Or you can call it 918-460-KMOD. It says, is there anything you can do about the obligee not cashing child support checks in a timely manner?
So translate, the person who is being paid the money for some reason is not cashing their checks in timely manner. Can you force them to? I don't know. I mean, what's timely? Are we talking a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
A year? A year?
Yeah. I mean, well, under federal law, technically the check wouldn't be any good after a year, but what's timely? I mean, I understand. I think the idea behind this is I'm paying money. I'm expecting it to come out of my account.
Yeah.
He or she is not cashing it fast enough. And so my account gets screwed up. I get that. It's like, when you get a Christmas check or something, you don't cash it fast enough, and your relative calls you up and says, "Hey, why haven't you cashed that?" It's kind of the same thing. I don't know. I mean, again, what's timely?
I think I never thought of it. I thought it was more of like the check was expiring and to create an aura of I'm not paying.
No, I think, at least the way I'm understanding it, it just sounds like, because here's the thing, if you write a check and you send it out and you can prove they got it, it doesn't matter. They can't say that you're not paying because you've got proof that you sent it and it was in a check. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best way to pay child support when you aren't dealing through a state entity to pay child support? What's the best way to pay child support?
You want to have something with a record. So checks, all right, and or money order. Those are always the best way to do it. Cash, I shy away from it for 100,000 different reasons, unless you've got somebody reasonable on the other side, which is not too often. Okay, let's just be realistic. Because you would have to have them sign something that says they've received the money and it was for child support. And you would keep a receipt book,
yeah,
right? And that's kind of a pain in the butt as opposed to a check where you can typically show canceled checks, or a lot of times we've got the checks that have the a duplicate, where it gives you
carbon copy.
Thank you, carbon copy checks. Those work well too. So as long as you've got some record, but the main thing is making sure they get it. It's not just about writing it or going and getting it, from the gas station or something in a money order. You have to prove they've got it. So, green card, making sure it's served, or taking a video or a picture or something as you're handing it to them or something like that.
What about Venmo, Cash App, and with like modern technology?
And those are great. And a lot of times we're seeing that as long as DHS is not an entity where you have to pay through DHS. Yeah, that's great too. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, any of those that are out there. And I know more and more are coming online from year to year. So as long as there's a record to show who it was paid to and where it went and the account numbers, you're good to go.
I would even nerd out even more and set up a separate account that is just for child support.
And I've seen people
put money
do that
in it and pay directly out of that. That way there's no deciphering between when you bought, your Red Bull and everything else. This is all money that goes straight to that person.
I've had clients do that too. I've had clients do they've got one Venmo account that's only for sending money for child support, whatever it may be. So yeah, it's a great idea.
Another call. This is Rick. Rick, go ahead. You're on with Jeff Hensley of Hensley and Associates.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
So I've had my 15-year-old son. He about approximately 6 months ago called me from a neighboring house to his mother's and called me and asked me to come get him. His mom and stepdad have been yelling and hollering, throwing things. He hasn't returned since. He's spoken to her maybe twice in the last 6 months. My question is, could I go and get my child support modified myself, or is that something I would need legal representation for?
Well, it's like we always say, you don't want to do it on your own for 1,000 different reasons to make sure it's done correctly. What county are you in?
Tulsa.
Okay. And have you been paying through DHS or have you just been paying her directly?
I've been paying through DHS. I'd been paying through direct deposit. I lost my job in early December. I've got a new job now, but they were originally just pulling it straight from my checks. But at my new job, it's not a digital check. It's not direct deposit. It's a physically handwritten check.
Well, whether it's a handwritten check or not,
Right, be a deduction off your
it'd
check.
be a deduction off your handwritten check, whether you realize it or not, is what they're supposed to do. If there's an income assignment that's been sent to DHS for them to process it, because DHS may not know that you've switched jobs. And if they haven't, then there won't be what I'm about to talk about. But if they do know, they'll send a new income assignment to that company. And it doesn't matter if it's a digital check or if it's a handwritten check. The owner of the business has, or whoever handles the accounting goes through and says, okay, I got this letter from DHS that says I'm supposed to take X number of dollars out of this guy's check every week or every 2 weeks or whatever it is. And then you get the remainder. And then they're supposed to take that money that was taken out and ship it off to DHS to show that you're being paid or you're paying your child support. So we can get that modified. If you give your name or number to Gimpy, I can definitely help you with that. Now, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing too. If you're now the custodial parent, we're gonna have to it's not just about modifying child support. We're going to have to modify custody as well, because you're the one with the child. What was there joint or sole custody before the kid came over to you?
50-50 custody.
Okay.
We had 50-50 custody prior to this.
Okay. So in this case, if you wanted to remain at 50-50 custody, we could just do child support. But if you need to change the custody, we can do that as well. So either way, we can help you. If you give your name and number on Gimpy, we can help you with that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hang on the line. This is a text coming in. It says, question for Jeff. My sister has 2 children with same dad. They are not together, never married, only on one birth certificate. Can paternal grandfather get emergency custody of child without proving recent issues with mother?
Say that again.
Question for Jeff. My sister has 2 children with same dad. They are not together, never married.
Okay.
Only on one birth certificate.
What does that mean?
I'm guessing only his name's only on one of the birth certificates.
Okay, go ahead.
Can the paternal grandfather get emergency custody of a child without proving recent issues with mother?
No, you have to show an unfitness. If you're going to go get a guardianship on any kid, it doesn't matter whether you're related to them or not. You have to show that those parents are unfit in some way. You can't just walk in and go, I want these kids.
And what is that threshold? Like a traffic ticket isn't enough.
No, it's not enough. I mean, again, the burden of proof is to show unfitness.
Abuse, neglect.
Yeah, any of that. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you got to show that
that's
they're
the
a crappy
extreme.
parent.
I mean, that's obvious, right? I'm asking for the person who's brainstorming this idea. What is the expectation of a traffic ticket? I mean,
yeah,
abuse, of course.
Sure.
So again, I mean, if the parents are not feeding them, not taking them to school, if they're not giving them medication they're supposed to be receiving, if they're medically neglecting them and not taking them to the doctor, if they're beating them, if they are mistreating them, if they are abusing them or sexually abusing them, or somebody in the household that lives with them is doing any of those things, if they're doing drugs around them, or if they're high all the time and lay on the couch and do nothing and the kid has to take care of themselves, essentially. I mean, again, there's when you say abuse and neglect, we've got the 2 words, but then you've got all these descriptions underneath. And there's no set listing in the statutes. But based on my experience, I mean, it's just all those things are discussed and even more.
But even then, under those circumstances, wouldn't there have to be an investigation before they came in and took the child? Like if you were to go in and say, hey, the mom is an alcoholic or the mom is doing drugs around the kids, wouldn't they first say, well, we're going to have to investigate this before we take the kids and put them in your care?
So if you're talking about if DHS is involved, the answer typically is if there's some sort of claim that's been made and they believe the child's in some sort of immediate harm, DHS will pull them out and then worry about investigating and those kind of things. In the situation we're talking about with paternal grandparent or grandfather or whoever it is, if he believes all that's going on, he can go get emergency guardianship, and then a hearing will be set called a show cause. And I'm sorry, I sound like a frog. He'll have to then prove, the burden of proof is on him, that those things are actually happening and that the parents are unfit and that the children are in some sort of harm.
So, but she's asking, what will the court, will they just take his word, or does he have to show up for that emergency custody with, here she is, stumbling down the road?
That's what I'm talking about. The initial filing, the initial emergency is called an ex parte hearing, where you can say anything you want to say. All right. But then the hearing comes 21 days later or sooner that you have to prove what you've just said.
So you can say it. You can say it and they can give the kids right then.
Right.
But you have to prove it in 21 days.
Right. Otherwise, the guardianship is dismissed. And yeah.
Interesting.
And that's the same with emergency custody, too. I mean, in a family law situation, the difference there is that you've got to have an affidavit that's an extra step that you don't have in guardianships. But either way, there's a show cause hearing set after the initial filing where you have to prove what you're saying. And if you can't, it's dismissed.
That's a great question coming in. It says, if you're losing your means of income and you are obligated to make child support payments, what kind of steps should you be taking?
Well, you need to continue to pay as much as you can until we get the order modified.
So you need to do two things. You got to obviously keep your obligation, but you're saying you've got to file an order to change.
You should. I mean, if you go from having a job where you're making enough, where you're paying your child support, and now you're making nothing because you've been laid off or fired or wherever it may be, and there's not, you don't see in the foreseeable short future that you're going to have a new job to replace that, then yeah, we need to modify it. Because otherwise your obligation is going to stay high. You're going to continue to not pay. And all of a sudden you got these huge arrearages built up. And we don't want that.
Well, and I can imagine as someone who's going to lose their job or has lost their job and they're like, wow, I'm worried I can't make this payment, suddenly has to pay to file a new order too. That feels also challenging.
Right. I agree. And but that's the way our system is set up.
Last one. This one says, hold on. Where'd it go? Oh, is there, got that one. We are moving and my 16-year-old wants to stay. She's in the 11th grade and wants to finish school. We trust her to take care of herself. Can she move out and stay here?
No. Can she? Yes.
Let's talk about this because I've seen this
in
movies where they're like the child's, at the end of their senior year, but dad got a job, in Hawaii and no, you can't take me. And they're like, we trust you and get them an apartment and whatever. Is that abandoning your kid even because they're under 18?
It's not abandonment, but it's a really bad, stupid choice. Okay. And the reason being is, yes, you may trust them, but guess what? They're 16. They're not adults. Okay. So legally they can't live by themselves unless they're emancipated. All right. But if you're going to do the situation where you move away, typically what people will do is they'll leave them with somebody here and they'll get a guardianship or whatever it may be that is needed. So the kid is taken care of until they graduate. I mean, at 16, you said she's in 11th grade. So she's going to finish, I assume she'll finish her 11th grade year this year in May. But then she still has a whole senior year. So you wouldn't want to leave them by themselves. You've got to, legally, you need to really have somebody to help take care of them along the way.
Yeah. Who's going to take them to the doctor?
Right. And that's my point. 16-year-old can't really take themselves and shouldn't. At some point, they're going to get caught doing that. So guardianship, that's what we do in these situations. If you're going to move away, fine. You want to leave them with somebody, fine. But we need to get a guardianship in place so those people can take them to the doctor and take them to the ER and get them enrolled in school for the next school year and all those things.
Listen, I think we've had more than one case that shows they're all unique and they can be quite complicated. And you want to make sure you do it right. You would hate to do your own computation to change your amount you pay and find out you overpaid because you didn't understand the computations correctly. That's why you need to hire Jeff and the folks at Hensley & Associates. They can help you figure out the right course of action for your unique case because yours is unique. Don't listen to your friend Karen. 918-398-5692 for Hensley & Associates and mention KMOD. Get a free consultation of the phone. 918-398-5692 for Hensley & Associates. And now you guys have expanded. You do other cases besides family law.
We do. So out in our Pawhuska office, they handle all of our other cases as well. So if you've got a criminal case, I've seen 2 people get pulled over out this window over here while we've been on the air, probably getting speeding tickets. So give us a call. We can handle those. If you've been charged with anything criminally, we can handle that, including murder cases. So, if you've got a case where you've been in a car wreck, we can handle that. Medical malpractice, you've been wronged by a doctor or physician, give us a call. We can handle that as well. So all of our office up there handles that, and they do a great job. And they're doing immigration out there now too. So if you've got immigration issues, please give them a call and they can get you taken care of.
All right, let's give that voice a rest. 918-398-5692. 918-398-5692 for Hensley and Associates. Have a great week, man.
Yeah, we'll do.
We'll be back.
Which was formerly known as Chi-Chi LaRue's. Not really important, but it's a funny name nonetheless. So the video's on our Facebook page, and they say that this drunken patron walks in, stumbles into the circus of books. You see him walking around a little bit, and then they go over and they wrap both arms around this giant 30-inch black dildo and then just walk right on out the door with it. But one of the employees, Marcus Blackwell, says that they were ready like Freddy. His quote. They went out there, they chased the person down, they retrieved the big black schlong, and they brought it back and they put it back on display where they picked it up at. Now, they didn't say whether they called the cops or anything like that, but they did say that this big black rubber wiener can be yours for $699.95.
Wow.
So 30 inches, damn near to a doorknob, right?
Yeah.
Doorknob's 36 inches.
Yeah.
That's not even the story. The story is how girthy it is.
Boy, it's massive. I've got the measurements right here. This massive black is 30 inches. It says here that it measures at 30.7 inches, so that's the height.
Yeah.
And 6.88 inches wide at the base, and then 11 inches wide at the
end.
The end.
So it's, I mean,
the testicle area.
It's like a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, it's a big bitch. It is huge. That is not for use. That's strictly for display.
In the video, she grabs it with one arm and it almost falls off. That's how top.
It's a big one. It's a honker.
Yeah. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, do you know how much it is?
How much, price wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, $699.95 plus tax.
I go to a sex shop and I'm like, $30.
Yeah, right. I'm not going to spend $700 for something that'll just sit in the corner and get dusty.
Exactly. A lot of people, it's payday today, and you're like, "Whoo, dog, been safe."
Valentine's Day's coming up.
Hey man, we're going out. Can't. Saving up. Gotta get a sex toy. Would you rather get your ass beat once a day, every day for the rest of your life in front of your spouse and kids, or go to prison for 2 years? Lindsay.
Go to prison for 2 years.
So you wouldn't miss your 2 years of your kid's football game?
Yeah. I don't want to get my ass beat
2 years of
every
birthdays?
day.
2 years of Christmases?
I mean, how bad are we talking? How much pain am I going to be in?
Doesn't matter. You're
How
just
much
getting your ass beat.
suffering?
Doesn't matter.
An ass beat hurts.
Yeah. Like, am I going to have a busted eye? Am I going to be able to see? Am I going to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how bad is this beat down?
Yes, to all those questions. It's an ass
Yeah.
beating.
So just give me prison for 2 years.
Okay, Gimpy.
Take the ass beating. I think that after the first week or two, you just become numb to it. You come to expect it. All right. You're like, all right, 2:00, time for my daily ass beating. Wife, kids, come on, gather around. Dad's about to get his ass kicked. And then let him take 5-10 minutes out of their day to whoop my ass and beat me to a bloody pulp. All right, Frank, see you tomorrow about the same time, same ass kicking time. And then walk back on my way,
Yeah. I feel like I'm picking the ass kicking too, because logistically, okay, a couple factors here. One, logistically, who are you going to find someone to show up every day? It ain't happening.
Right.
It ain't happening. You got haircuts.
Right.
You got doctor's appointments. You got that Zoom meeting.
Well, I mean, there's a lot that can go into it. One, it could be a different person every day.
Sure.
Right. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. Let's just say you're getting your haircut at 2:00 and it's time for your ass kicking. Well, you're getting your ass kicking in the middle of your haircut, or you're going to have to pause to get your ass kicking.
Yeah.
And then go back to your haircut.
I'm not saying me have the haircut. I'm saying people, life happens, right?
Okay.
And then what if the guy that, let's just say it's one person and he does it for 5 years and then he gets hit by a car and dies? Then what? Do you have an open call? Right? Let's say it's volunteer and people are like, well, I want to kick Corbin's ass. Great. That's going to work good for about the first year or so. And then people are like, okay. And maybe people are going to show up and watch. And then after a while, all right, enough's enough.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like the ass kicking is the pick.
However, what if the ass kicking is so bad that one day you're getting your ass kicked and it causes internal bleeding. You don't even know it. And then you end up dying from the ass
Well, then
kicking.
your ass beating is done because it's for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and they're going to jail for murder at that point.
But you're dead.
So will they be. And insurance premium. Come on. It's all good. Right? To me, there's just too much logistics with the ass kicking every day. And you're going to go to jail and get your ass kicked every day.
True statement.
Maybe not.
There's a good chance you're going to have to change who you are as an individual to go to jail for 2 years. You're going to have to jeopardize your virtues.
Either way, something is happening with your ass.
If you've heard me talk about jacuzzis, butt soup.
Yeah, you're not a fan.
They're disgusting. Well, the CDC has issued a statement about them because of the high infection bacteria that is in public jacuzzis. E. coli, lots of vowels and stuff in these words that I'm not going to say. Pathogens can cause gut infections, diarrhea, septicemia, skin infections, urinary tract infections, Legionnaire's disease. Legionella bacteria are particularly found in water droplets within the hot tub steam, and inhaling them the contained steam can lead to development of life-threatening pneumonia. Just being in the room, that's how bad they are. But listen to this. And I knew this, but they explain it a little differently. The CD says that if you want to enjoy a hot tub or jacuzzi, there is a way to telling if it's safe or not.
Okay.
And there are clear signs of a germ-filled jacuzzi when urine and other bodily fluids, such as sweat, mix in with the chlorine used to disinfect jacuzzis. It creates an irritant and a pungent chemical called chloramine, which is what causes sore eyes when swimming in pools.
Right.
The more bathers that deposit their bodily fluids, the stronger the smell of chloramine, which smells like bleach. And the greater the likelihood the spa or hotel jacuzzi has low levels of disinfectant and high levels of bacteria. So if the hot tub smells really strong, the chances are not safe. Even if the water looks clean and clear, it's also worth noting that the water does become murkier the longer it goes without chemicals.
So anytime you've gone to the public pool or the
this
water
says
park,
jacuzzi specifically.
Okay.
So, but we're jumping to that, but I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone to some and I'm like, dude, it reeks of bleach. I didn't know that it was because of all the pee-pee in the pool. I know that's what causes your eyes to burn, but I didn't know it would smell worse. Right? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So like my family went to Great Wolf Lodge last year. If you've ever been there, it is like you're getting LASIK. That's how strong it is.
Yeah.
Right.
It's horrible.
Yeah. How many kids are around?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dirty ass kids.
And you multiply, let's just take half those people have bubble guts.
Yeah.
And if that feel like I'm being dramatic, let's just go with a quarter.
Right.
Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show. 918-460-KMOD. All right, so I saw this scenario, and it's a really fun, messes with your head. All right. So play along.
All righty.
It's going to be a little uncomfortable or awkward. You ready? God forbid, knock on wood. You get a phone call. Your husband's been in a horrible car accident. He's been taken to the hospital. Do you listen to music in the car on the way?
No, not at all.
Not at all?
No, I think I'm on the phone probably. No, because I'm probably on the phone.
With who? Right. He's not available.
Be your old man.
It'd probably be my mother or his father.
Oh, see, that's where you and I are. I can't, in that moment, I don't need to commiserate. I need to process. I don't want to get somebody on the phone while I'm driving. They're like, oh, God. You, man. You know what I'm saying? Not that your mom would do that. I'm just trying to vision what it would be like for me.
Nope. I would be calling my best friend saying, can you get to my house or depending on what time of day it is, if my kids are still in school, it would be making arrangements with her to pick my children up and make sure they aren't alone. So I will be at the hospital.
But don't you need to get there and kind of figure out what's happening before you make alternative plans?
Yeah, but I have to plan because someone's going to have to pick up.
And that'll take 5 seconds.
School. Yeah.
To make the phone call.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be take care of this, and they go, yes.
Yep.
You would hope.
Right.
I can't. I'm at the store. We just ordered apps. Gimpy.
100%. Yes. Dude, when my mom died, I was listening to the show on the iHeartRadio app.
I think that's different. I think that's different.
But either way, I mean, yeah, I'm going to listen to music. I'm not going to sit in silence.
What do you pick? Like, what do you listen to? Like, what would be do you pick things you can bebop along to? And do you sing? Because typically people that sing along to songs are, like they say a good gauge to know if someone's in a good headspace is if they're humming.
Right,
like,
right.
Right? So like, here you are, you get this horrible news information about a loved one.
Yeah,
and you're like, drop it like a tom, right? It's a funny question.
Yeah, I think it would probably be like pick up whatever I was listening to last and go from there, or whatever's on the radio at that point in time. I don't know if I'm going to be putting my DJ skills to work at that particular point in time. It's just, all right, boom, let's go.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Not that you're this person, but if you're listening to like Joan Osborne.
What if God was?
Maybe you were listening to the very best of the Doors. This is the end.
Right.
No.
Like, I'm just saying, like, do you, when you get news about a loved one and you're racing to wherever that's happening at, do you put music on? And if there's silence, do you put music? Like, do you? I agree with. I'm probably just going to let happen what's already happening in my car.
Yeah.
But if I'm picking music, it feels like I don't know if Lump from Presidents of the United States. I don't know.
Yeah, everybody's different, but I mean, everybody processes things differently. And if this is what gets you in that right headspace, you know what I mean? All right, man. I don't know, man. I hope she's all right. I hope everything's fine.
I can't remember what happened. Everything was fine.
Wait, hold on. That's my jam right there, though, bro.
Right. But then again, like, you don't want, something to happen. And then you're hearing like, a little bit of like, oh, my music is not working today.
Oh.
All by Myself by Eric Cartman.
Oh, God.
Cartman, right?
Right. Yeah, you're right. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think honestly, when it comes to that sort of, if you're listening to, you're not really listening to the song, right? It's background noise. You probably got a million things going on in your brain, but I personally can't sit in silence. I'm not like you where you drive home and you drive to work in silence. And I can't do that. I've got to have something going on.
Here's text. So if blank, which was the code name for my wife before we married 12 years ago.
That's old school.
So if blank got hit by a car and was in the ER, Corbin wouldn't call her parents or family until it's too late. He'll just bebop his way there while tiptoeing through the tulips. No. I mean, I might call my other's loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
That makes, I get that.
Right. Let them know what's happened.
But if they're like, hey, your wife's in the emergency room, I'm going there and evaluating what's happening before I raise the flags for chaos.
Right. Because what happens as soon as you tell somebody that X went to the emergency room?
Yes.
It starts pandemonium in their world. And it's like, I get what you're saying. Do you really are you going to be responsible for that? What if it's nothing?
I am typically not someone who goes, hey, so-and-so went to the ER, blah, blah. I'm like, let me gather some information. First of all, it's not my news to share. Now, we're not talking about her parents like the text is saying.
Right.
Completely different. I have an obligation as the spouse to inform the other party.
Yeah.
Right? I think. But I also want to know what's happening. I feel like just going, they're in the ER. Well, what's happening? I don't know. Well, when they go, I don't know. When's it? I don't know. That's not information. I'm not helping the situation at all.
Right.
I'm just causing panic. Because that's scary to hear.
Yeah.
So in my head, I want information.
I think though that they would, I myself would call and tell them right away what I know. This is what I know so far, because I feel like if something, when I get to the hospital and if something happens, like when I get there and let's say that, God forbid, that they pass and, well, why didn't you call me sooner? Then I'm to blame. Then that is.
Well, that's on them. That's their fault.
Yeah, but I called you as soon as I found out this is what I know. I'm telling you right now.
I just don't let other people's expectations of me drive me.
Okay.
Right? Like I'm doing what I think is right. And I would hate to stir something up when it was gas. Because people have went to the hospital before thinking they're having a heart attack and all these things, and it's gas.
It's okay. She just had to toot.
I just don't like causing unnecessary panic.
That makes sense.
Sure.
And if, let's just say, someone was in a car wreck and they transport out of cautionary reasons, that's not a reason to get the dinner train going. In my opinion. In my opinion.
Okay.
But I definitely, either way, I'm not putting music on. So there'd be no and by the way, F you for thinking that's the song I'm picking.
Yeah.
I would hope you think my musical taste is a little more broad than Tiptoe Through the Tulips.
And if I'm not on the phone, it'll be silent because I'm praying to God to make him okay.
Sure, of course.
Yeah.
And I actually would believe you would call someone because that your personality is that, to like have people comfort you.
Yes.
Right? Where I think Gimpy and I are both like, I
got to process things first before I start doing anything else.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a break and we'll be back.
Tulsa's morning show is coming right up.
No, but he looks like the type that wishes like he would have been there rather than in Iowa. So he's going to spend mom and dad's money and just make a mess of himself. That's what I get from his mugshot.
I'm going to go to Iowa and cause trouble.
Yeah.
Said no one ever.
Right.
You go to Vegas, you cause trouble. Go to LA, go to New York City. Nobody goes to Iowa just to cause trouble.
I do not have a counter to that. I grew up in Iowa. I do not have a counter to that.
You only cause trouble in Iowa if you're from there because you got nothing else to do in Iowa.
Right, because the gravel road. Yeah, you're on the gravel road drinking.
Man breaks into home and hides under sheet. I'm not sheeting you. This is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it sounds like it. The lead-in sounds insane.
Happens in West Virginia where this gal, she's sleeping and she hears glass breaking in her house. So she goes to check and she sees a strange man in her house. Oh, no. So she runs upstairs to be with her granddaughters and she calls the police. Help, there's somebody in my house. So the police come down and they're searching around and they go to the back room. They see a pile of sheets. They see the pile of sheets move. Well, that sheet is not supposed to move. So they found 30-year-old William Brewer hiding underneath the sheet. Now, first they tried to cuff the man. He tried to run, but, they cuffed him anyway. He told the police that he only did it because he was high on the drugs and he needed a place to sleep. He says that, I guess he broke into the lady's house next door. She called the cops too. He says that he broke into that house to do the same thing, just looking for a place to sleep. But he left because the woman there would not stop yelling at him.
When we play hide and seek in my house,
Yeah.
I will sometimes hide under a sheet because I'm not trying to win.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to not breathe under the sheet because the sheet moves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Easily found.
Where would you hide, Lindsay? If you were this guy, where would you hide?
Probably in a closet
That's the first place they're going to look.
or under a bed.
Second place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not in a sheet.
Under.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, if he's looking to take a nap, I mean, maybe they were Egyptian cotton and they looked really comfy.
Gimpy, where would you hide?
In a trash can. Not like in the small trash can in the kitchen, but no, in a dumpster outside.
Ooh.
I think it's big enough to fit a body in. Probably one of the last places they're going to look. Maybe, I don't know. I try not to run from the police, but I do remember watching Cops. He tries to hide under the kiddie pool, and they kick it over, and they find him every time.
Yeah, because they know to look there.
Yeah.
I think you got to hide in plain sight. My best hiding spots when we play hide and seek in the house is in plain sight.
Lampshade on your head?
Well, not like standing in the wide open.
Right.
Yeah.
But I have stood behind a curtain.
Uh-huh.
Right?
They don't think to look for the shoes under the curtain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're kids.
Exactly.
They've run right past you.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Exactly.
Yep.
Got to think like a child. On the podcast, we mentioned one thing is added to a news story. It changes the dynamic of a story. It makes it way more intense. Regardless if it's a news story or a story your friend's telling you. One factor has to do with feces will change the dynamic of a story. I have found another one that changes the dynamic of a story.
Really? Non-poop related, huh?
Non-poop related.
All right, then.
So the headline, I'm leaving out the crazy part. I'm leaving out part of the crazy. 2 kids killed after a bus driver crashes into a daycare.
Oh, damn, that sucks.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
I've got the factor added to any story makes it more crazy.
Okay.
2 kids killed after totally naked bus driver crashes into daycare.
Totally naked, huh? That will change any story.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Man robbed McDonald's. Okay. Naked man robs McDonald's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it really paints a picture for sure.
Yeah. I woke up in the middle of the night. Somebody was pounding on the door to my house.
Oh, no.
Yes. It was freaky. I didn't know what to do. I woke up in the middle of the night. There was a naked man pounding on the door to my house.
Definitely different.
It lands different, doesn't it? My ex would get so crazy. She'd get drunk and she would run around screaming, right? Yelling at everybody.
Yeah.
My ex, she would get so drunk, she'd get naked and run around screaming.
Mm-hmm.
I had this
It's
friend in
different.
college, man. If he got a good test score, he would celebrate, man.
Yeah.
Get really drunk,
Oh, yeah.
right? Yell, scream, throw stuff out his dorm room window. Right? It's fine.
Yeah.
Seemingly, yeah.
I had this friend in college. If he did really good on a test score, he'd go celebrate, get real drunk, naked, run around, throw stuff out his window.
It literally does.
It does.
That and the other.
And feces.
Yeah.
You add feces to any headline, you go, oh, hey. Naked, you're like, yeah, man, get it together. In a courtroom, man, please. Good morning. It's the Big Man Morning Show. 918-460-KMOD is the phone number. Find out what everybody learned. We'll start with Lindsay. Lindsay, what did you learn today?
I learned that Sylvester Stallone isn't in Creed 3, and I have to assume it's because producers didn't want to pay for subtitles. And I also learned that the same precautions that you're supposed to take when filling your gas tank at a gas station are now the same precautions to take when visiting Gimpy's house.
Right, because of all the gas. Gimpy, what'd you learn today?
I learned that I got a job for you, but I can only pay you in weed. Done. I also learned that Lindsay secretly wants to chop a wiener off.
I also learned that Lindsay suffers from precognitive castration phenomena.
That's the thing. He didn't make that up.
And I also learned that Gimpy hit a fire hydrant, an actual one, not some code name for a short, stocky woman with thick arms and legs and no neck that he banged back in the day. It's Corbin saying, make sure that dishwasher's loaded right.
It's Lindsay, stop tracking my cycle.
This is Gimpy, and I'm sorry.
Thank you. Far too kind.
Were called and reached the scene about 28 minutes later. And the man was then transmitted to a hospital where he's recovering, according to another TV outlet. Upon notification of the incident, the Clearwater Fire and Rescue Team immediately removed both fire medics from their normal duties and discontinued their abilities to provide patient care in conjunction with the county's medical director. They said, on behalf of the city, I apologize for the actions.
No, they're real sorry.
and the inactions of our crew during this incident. They said we have strict policies and procedures in place that were not followed. According to our preliminary review, these two did not perform to the standard of care that our citizens expect and deserve.
They have to say that. They can't say they did everything according to code.
Yeah. Right.
They can't.
Because they didn't.
Because then everyone's going to be put under scrutiny. They've got to put it on those two people. But I can't imagine they showed up with eating a Slim Jim and a big gulp going, yeah, he ain't moving. He looks dead. Maybe they didn't. But I'm assuming they showed up, followed the protocols. I don't know, put 2 fingers on the neck. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever those protocols are.
Mirror underneath the nose. He ain't breathing. He's got to be dead.
You're there. You call 911. Paramedics show up. And they just do 2 fingers under the throat, which is not a correct way to check to see if someone's alive, by the way. And they're like, yeah, they're dead. Do you, watching your loved one in this peril moment, who have called the people to save their life, go,